All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Three Brothers Podcast. This is edition number 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Up to 4.
Number 4. So thanks for joining us. Let me start off by introducing myself, right? Alan Manley Sr. is my brother Phil Manley, and this is our third brother, Jay Brophy. I want to make sure I do that. I've been neglectful some of the past episodes, so people have been saying, hey, we want to know who you are. So got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Hate to, have some doom and gloom, but our country is in trouble, right? I don't think that's a secret. So we want to get to some stuff right away. The top thing on the charts is our boy Pete Hegseth. Apparently, he sent out a text with some pretty important information, right?
Well, he didn't send it out. There was a text conversation that was going on. Right. That was the planning, I guess, and execution of a bombing mission in Yemen in real time.
Right.
That somehow a reporter from the Atlantic or an editor from the Atlantic ended up getting invited on and being on. And so
and received those texts.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, did they ever determine who put the actual list together in terms of the invitees? Has anyone taken ownership of that? Or
there's a guy, I think his last name is Walls, who is the culprit, or at least
the fall guy.
Yeah, the fall guy, at least. And so nothing's happened to him yet, but he's apparently the guy that was responsible for putting that text exchange together. And his comment, as you saw on Saturday Night Live, was the dude must have just gotten sucked up through the phone. Yeah. So,
oh my goodness. Not good though. Not a good look.
Yeah, right? It isn't. No. But hey, that administration is a clown show. And so when something like this happens, nobody should be surprised. And we should expect more of it.
Yeah.
The thing that upset me, though, was if you watch Hegseth and Marco Rubio and guys like that who are now in this clown show or wherever, take a look at what they said about Hillary's emails. They said about what they said about defending Ukraine.
Right.
And again, I'm telling you folks out there that say these guys are all fine and dandy. Look at what they said just a few years ago before they became Trumpers or whatever.
Forgot about that.
And it's like they wanted her.
That should be trending.
Why? Oh, that's trending.
Why is someone playing those tapes?
They're on, but again, they're trying to hide them. Yeah, they're on.
Okay.
But and Rubio talking about how we should be defending Ukraine and Russia, the problem, all this stuff. And now all that just disappeared. So my big thing is, again, like Phil said, it's going to continue because they're just wrapped up in lies.
Yeah.
Everybody's pointing a finger at someone else who said something, and then Trump just says, I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Which is the difference between the Democratic Party and MAGA.
Accountability.
When we fuck up, we at least to some degree own it. All right?
Yeah.
Biden gives a terrible debate. All right. You got to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
We move on. We admit that it's terrible.
Yeah.
Now, Kamala debates Trump, kicks his ass.
Yeah.
And Trump says he won, and he doesn't need to debate Kamala anymore.
That's part of the playbook, though.
Yeah. Never admit anything. That's basically it. That's the Roy Cohn playbook, quite frankly.
Well, and that was my problem again with what's going on and why these headlines are so important. Is again, I'm telling you, this is 1930s Germany. It was the same thing. Discredit the press, lie about everything, blame somebody instead of the Jews. Let's blame the immigrants. We're feud with all the countries. We're going to be the best. This is right out of the playbook. To be honest. But we got people out there saying, "Oh, you're crazy," and that's all that fake news. See, there you go.
What do you say about the security of the country, though? If you have
my goodness,
pilots out executing plans that have already been relayed over a public text or email thread.
You know what?
I mean,
my guess is it was a drone strike as opposed to, and I don't know this, but I'm just thinking pilots flying, dropping bombs.
But one of the things that were
go ahead.
Well, one of the things that was brought up though is you're talking about like FBI agents and people that have connections overseas, and they're looking at we're giving out details like this, and then people are going to look at them going, hey, listen. I can't have my stuff come out like this, or we'll all be dead. You know what I mean? So I mean that's it's got like its tentacles go very deep into so many other things, and it's just You can't have that happen.
Yeah, but the head of the dragon is Trump.
Yes.
I was just going to
And
say.
no matter what happens, do not admit that you were at fault for something.
That's right.
Do not admit that anything's going wrong.
That's right.
This is like Alan, you said, it's the playbook. Man.
Yeah, it is the
They
playbook.
just,
It is.
You know, they lie with impunity.
Well, remember after his initial inauguration, term one, who was the guy?
Sean Spicer.
Sean Spicer.
Yep.
This was the largest crowd ever.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
In the history of. So that was that's been the playbook from day one.
Yeah.
Interesting because as Trump adds to his resume, there is now more and more talk of a third term, right? And so I found the timing of all this to be interesting. The fact that would be brought up even against the the 22nd Amendment. So
Right.
what's the possibility of this? I mean, he doesn't know or respect any rule of law, and
There you
certainly the
go.
Constitution shouldn't be an impediment to him. So what's the reality of this thing happening?
Hey,
Third term.
What is it, 2025 now? And he got elected in 2016. So maybe in 2018. No. When he got removed from office by Biden, and it was determined that he was going to end up being the candidate for the GOP for a second time for this most recent election. I was saying from that moment on, so it had to be from like 2018, 2019. If Trump gets back in office, he is never leaving office. And not that was a unique thought. There were plenty of people that were saying that.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. He's too power hungry. There is nothing. He's gaining more power every day, just like you say. And this is
Well, do you think they're going to manipulate the Constitution,
no,
or they're just going to change it, or
They'll
what
change it. They'll find a way to manipulate or change it. And he said himself, there's ways of making this happen.
I've heard that.
And so if he says that, he's already thinking of ways, and he's got his way in there. And now he's saying another term. Now he'll be in his 80s or whatever. Like,
he's 78 now?
Yeah, so he'll be going his mid-80s. He doesn't care. He told the conservative Christian right that vote for me one more time. That's all you got to do.
all you got to do. You don't have to worry about it again.
He's planning on staying. He wants to be a king.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's nothing in the Constitution that says he can't run for vice president. And so if he does that, and let's say Don Jr. and Don Sr. are the ticket for
You wouldn't think it would
2028.
be. Oh, it couldn't be.
Well, isn't Elon?
Say again?
Isn't Elon
Elon's
the
not
president now?
American
Yeah. Well, Elon won't give it up if he gets it.
yeah.
Don Jr.
Well,
will
Elon's
step
not
up.
American born, though, is he?
No, he's not. That's right.
Yeah, he can't-
So
he
he's
can't
not
be-
eligible.
He shouldn't
That's
be
right.
in where he is right now
Yeah,
either, but he is.
So Trump gets somebody to run. Trump runs as vice president. Now, he's not even going to do that because he's not going to be an underling of anybody, ever. But if he was, the person gets elected, and then the person resigns the office.
Yeah.
Can Trump, and this is, again, it's a constitutional question, but could he then cede to the presidency? Because that's what would happen with the vice president. And it would be, I'm sure what they would call it is a constitutional crisis.
Yeah.
And
I am bothered by people that totally dismiss that as a possibility.
Yeah.
I know what the
Right.
Constitution says,
Right.
but they don't give a damn about that. They
No.
never have.
Yep.
And so for
No.
people to totally dismiss it,
Hey, he was on Air.
bothers me.
He was on Air Force One today or yesterday saying, I don't want to talk about that yet.
Well, yeah,
But he
because they don't
goes-
have the plan.
But he goes, a lot of people want me. They
Yeah.
told me they want me to continue on.
Right.
So he goes, we'll see how that goes.
yeah.
I mean,
Planting those seeds.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but in my opinion, and the reason they're willing to look the other way is because this, to me, is the modern day Tulsa, Oklahoma, where
yeah.
brown people were ascending to a level that was just too high and too many of them. There's
Cut
got to
that
be
down.
something to put that in check.
Yeah.
Now, they can't go and burn down black people's neighborhoods anymore, quite frankly. So that's not going to do it.
Right.
They have to figure out a way, and I hate that I'm thinking this way because this is so conspiratorial, but to push us down decades.
Well, it starts with
that it
erasing
takes
history,
us-
though.
Yeah,
Erasing
there you
history.
go. Right.
So it takes us 40 years to get back to where we are today.
Correct, yeah.
And then they figure out something else when that happens.
It'd be too
Yeah,
late,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So and people that I've spoken to, and man, I've spoken to some smart white people. They will not admit that Trump is what Trump is. They voted for him, but they have like blinders on for anything that he's done that would be something that you would say, how could you possibly do that? How could you vote for a guy that raped a woman?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, but even look at like what he's done with Elon and letting this go on, and it's okay.
Yep.
And it's just saying by everything's okay, and no one's sitting up there jumping and going, "Hey, whoa, we can't have this happen. You can't have a person do it."
A Nazi
no one,
salute.
a
Nazi salute.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
man.
Yeah.
I mean, I said, I hate that we have to belabor the point or whatever, but we need to.
I know. I mean, these are not pleasant conversations, but they're necessary.
Yes.
And we have to have them each week. You know, I was talking about how we kind of revisit recycled information, but
That's a good point.
People want to know and people want to talk about it and people want to hear your opinion on it. You know, you had done a 5 Minutes with Phil a couple of weeks back.
Oh, man.
And addressed a lot of these issues, man, and it was just a point on. So spot on. So, you know, here we are, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Moving on, I wanted to talk about something in the news. Pastor Marvin Sapp, I don't even know how to go into this.
Oh, geez.
The initial story was that he had ordered the doors to be locked. Now, I've seen the video. He just said, close the doors. He was emphatic about that to his ushers.
Yep.
But what he was asking for was $40,000 collection that day before anyone left.
Yep.
And so, boy, that opens up just a big can of everything there. So let me ask you this. What's your take on that before I...
First of all, he probably set a record for me that I have known him for as little as I've known any human being to be able to say objectively that he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So I know that for a fact. And the fact that he said, close the doors as opposed to lock the doors. If you see that video, there's no difference between
As
the
if
two.
it was less of an order, right?
It was an authoritarian order to shut those doors.
Right.
The only reason what do you mean? It's too cold and the heat's out? He wanted
That
that
means
door
nobody
shut,
gets out.
so nobody can get out of that room until they accomplish
Reset
what
it.
it
You
is.
know there was somebody sitting in the back going, damn, I was about to get out.
I was just ready to leave. Yeah.
But he is the living embodiment of the stereotypical piece of shit, thieving preacher that we all know and hate.
Yeah.
He's just that guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't imagine if he's got a congregation, if you walk in those doors and that's the guy that's giving you your guidance on a regular basis, don't even talk to me about Christianity.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll go a little farther because the spiritual advisor to the White House, what's her name? Something Kane?
Paula White?
Paula White
Yep,
Kane.
Kane.
Yep.
Hey, listen, man, it's Passover. Give me $1,000. Donate $1,000. And she promised.
Now, this was per person, right?
Yeah, per person. $1,000. But you're going to get all of these doggone dreams come true. All these things that you'll pray for will come to you. You're going to have all this. But you got to donate that $1,000 first.
Man.
And now she's in the White House as an advisor, but she's funneling that to her private congregation or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can have all your dreams come true, all the things you wish for $1,000.
Well, it's unfortunate for a lot of reasons. First time, just the day and age we're living in. I think prayer is important. Spirituality is important. Leadership from the pulpit is important. And when you see these things that happen with the Marvin Sapps, it kind of reflects on, you know, other pastors who are trying to do well, trying to do their best. And people who aren't regulars to church on Sunday will sit back and say, this is why, right? So it's, you know, it has a kind of a web effect.
It does.
Where it reaches out and touches different people in different ways. So it's unfortunate.
Warning signals. If your pastor has a private jet, he's a piece of shit. Go to another church. If your pastor has a Bentley, he's a piece of shit. Go to another church. What else could it be?
Well, you know, people. Now, I've heard that parishioners want their leader to have the best of everything because it reflects on his leadership and the strength of the followers. You want them in the best house. You want them dressed well. You want him in a newer car. You want the first lady looking well. This is what I've been told.
Joel
Remember,
Osteen.
Yeah.
You see
Well,
it?
yeah. And actually, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the guy at
Houston that
Katrina?
Katrina? Shut down.
Yeah. Locked the doors of his church during Katrina. So think about that.
And he's got a huge mansion
Yeah.
with all these cars.
Yeah. So listen, I know a guy. Allegedly, all right, okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
All right. Who
Does he
bought
know that
himself?
guy? You know, yeah.
He bought himself a suit for his girlfriend's birthday because he knew she liked him to look good. So that was his present to her, getting himself a suit. All right. I'm sorry if that's what you feel about your pastor, that he has to have not just nice stuff but the best of everything. Listen, that money's you just throwing money away. So I'm not a fan of that. But it's the same type of cult mentality.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That people that follow Trump have.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. They don't care how much shit Trump has. They worship him because, in part, of what he has, because of his wealth.
Right.
And so that's a part of the package.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not saying that I'm not a spiritual person, but I'm not a church religious person because of just what I've found out through the different churches I've been to that I just disagree with. So again, very spiritual, believe in prayer, all that stuff. But
I know some spiritual men that I think the world of, and I find them to be very credible. But situations like this, again, it does have a kind of a wide effect on the church and black church in particular. But we see it all the time, or more too often, I should say. Unfortunate. And I know he's kind of been doing the rounds there explaining. I haven't seen a lot of I think he was on Ricky Smiley's show or something.
Yeah.
That video's out there. I haven't seen it, but I do want to watch it. I want to hear his point of view on why he was asking for $40,000, why the doors needed to be closed, and et cetera.
adamantly.
Yeah, I got to hear that. So, okay. Somebody else is in the news again. This whole debate with Stephen A. and LeBron seems to be picking up some momentum. So let me just say this. Now, when this first started, as far as I know, was the game at Madison Square Garden where LeBron came up to Stephen A. and I guess he said, "Keep my son's name out your mouth," or whatever. I know that sounds like
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, keep my son out of this shit. I think. That's what he said. And at that point, I kind of felt for Stephen A. because from a journalistic standpoint, I said he had a right to report on Bronny. Bronny is a celebrity. You know, people were saying, well, there's other 12 men on people's benches. Why does Bronny have to get this attention? And particularly it was negative attention, which, by the way, he would get attention whether he did good or bad because he's Bronny. But the difference is Bronny is a celebrity. He's the son of a celebrity. And he's in his own right, he's a celebrity. If he walked into any mall across the country, he'd be mobbed. He's a celebrity. So there is a difference. So my initial take on this was kind of backing Stephen A. And I'm not a huge Stephen A. fan. As this thing grew and grew and grew, Brown ended up doing the Pat McAfee show. That was kind of a slap in the face of ESPN. And somebody had mentioned one of the things that hurt Stephen A. the most was his inability to get LeBron. Right? He's got this connection with MJ and Iverson, and he talks about that all the time. But LeBron won't give him the time of day, and that bothers him. And I think Stephen A., for a guy in his position and a man of his age, I think it's gotten kind of petty. That last thing he did is a little.
When he just
talked about there was some things about.
I'm not gonna say this, but he said it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that was beneath him.
Kind of blew up in his
as
face
a professional.
too.
So, and those are kind of the reasons that I don't like Stephen A. And I have a lot of respect for him. I think his ability is unbelievable. But and it's at the end of the day, I think they're both petty. I think they both have some pettiness in them. So anyway, that's my take. What do you guys think?
No, I agree with you. And I told you, I'm to the point where I'm over it. To me, I'm like, enough's enough. You guys either box it out, fight it out, settle it, whatever. But it just kind
Oh,
of
that was another thing. He showed the
it was
the
just
video.
showing,
Of,
yeah.
Come on, somebody. That was funny. I know LeBron never laughed like hell at that.
Hey, that was like that Herschel Walker dance video.
Right.
That was. I'm glad you said that.
And it's like, hey,
Oh, that was funny.
you're
And
gonna
then because shortly after he's talking about he would have thrown
thrown
Down, yeah. I'd have raised up on him or something like that.
Yeah, people say if you're thrown like that, you're gonna get killed. You know, but but
6'8", 260, man, it'll kill you.
and it just again, it did like pettiness. You're saying it is, and we live in a 24/7 news,
Right,
so
news cycle,
everything sells, and they got
constantly,
to stay on top of everything.
Yeah.
But by doing that, man, to me, you lessen the product, man.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for it, even though I don't like that type of journalism, the scream and holler and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I respect the guys for doing their job and knowing what they're doing
Yep.
and
Yeah.
earning that kind of living because they are that popular.
And I think with this new contract, Stephen A. $100 million,
Yeah.
which is unprecedented for a person his
Same day LeBron effed him up.
Yeah,
Yep,
and I think Stephen A. kind of places himself as big a celebrity as
As the
LeBron.
athlete.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that to be true, and I don't think that will ever be the case.
Right,
You'll
you're
never,
right.
as a journalist, outdraw an athlete.
I agree.
Because LeBron is the show,
Right.
or any athlete for that matter.
Right. Yep.
And so that's kind of, I just think it's a mistake he's made. But go ahead, I didn't want to.
No, I was just going to say, first of all, that microphone, you can really be a bully if you have a microphone at hand.
Yeah.
And so Stephen A. is that way. It's possible for both LeBron and Stephen A. to be at fault.
Yeah.
What LeBron did was purposeful. He meant to humiliate Stephen A. publicly.
Yeah.
You know this is on camera.
Right.
Yeah.
And so did he have to do that? No, he didn't have to do that. Stephen A., he attacked his son. Stephen A. and ESPN, the first word in ESPN is entertainment.
Right, exactly right.
That's what he is, all right? He is and I don't mean this as an insult.
Right.
But he's a clown. And that is his niche. And so when he comes on and he goes on his,
Rant.
preacher
Right.
at the end of the sermon rant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It just, he's got to do that. Like every day or every other day, he's got to go off on one of those Stephen A. rants.
Yeah, that's exactly
And-
right.
Yeah.
And so he does have this ego, and he loves to be loved.
Right.
So anybody that gives him positive attention, he gives that back.
Right.
And anybody that says something or comes at him in a negative way, he gives that back.
Yeah.
Now, LeBron, up to this point, was basically bigger than that. He could ignore Stephen A., and Stephen A.
Right.
could really hit him that hard.
Right.
Because,
Right.
it's just, the pettiness would come across.
Right.
But when LeBron just completely humiliated him, then Stephen A.'s colors really had
Yeah.
to shine through.
Yeah.
And he really
Right.
did a disservice to himself.
I think
because
so.
that-
I do.
As
I
a
think so.
journalist,
Yeah,
you just got
you
to
should be
take
above that.
You got to
Above
take that
that.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you shouldn't.
And then he was wrong. He said he
right.
wasn't at Kobe's memorial.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
Damn, you stayed up all night writing that shit out, and you don't even have the facts
Start
right.
spouting off,
Yeah.
spouting off
could've
stuff,
told
other
that.
stuff that wasn't true either.
Right.
So I'm not saying he's not good at what he does.
Right.
And if
He's
I
very
could be
good
a
at what he
clown
does.
and get $100 million,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I'd probably do
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's not what I would call journalism.
Yeah.
I'm a again,
You kinda
I
crossed
think
the line.
We
It
talked
was-
before about what's that show that was on Sunday mornings?
Sports reporter.
Yeah, Sports
Yeah,
Report.
yeah.
So Dick Schaap.
Right.
Dick Schaap, to me,
Right.
leads
That's
the
what
show.
he was the epitome of-
integrity.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
never,
Yeah.
Stuart Scott would
Right,
never
right,
do
right,
something.
right, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, I agree.
That is
Exactly.
class. That is journalism.
Yeah.
Stephen A. just isn't that way. But
Yeah.
he's getting paid to be what he is.
Exactly right.
And so you got to deal with it.
Well,
but he's got to take the bad with the good. If
First
he's gonna
Take
do that.
is really the Stephen A. show, though. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Oh,
That is
absolutely.
really the Stephen A.
absolutely.
show.
Oh, you
And
emerged
it-
from that. Wasn't
and he-
it called First Take when Skip was on it, or was it?
It's always been called First Take.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's his
But it
show.
is really the
Yeah.
Stephen A. show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And they almost apologized. Well,
Yeah.
Stephen A. won't be with us today. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Capitulate to him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It
And he's
pisses me
driving
off.
ratings.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
Top
sponsors.
show. That's why they got paid the money.
Yeah.
Listen.
You want to sell your trucks on that
Right.
during that time
Yep.
slot, you're going to pay big dollars because of the ratings.
One of the things that amazes me is that Charles Barkley never takes a shot at Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan has ignored Charles Barkley for more than a decade.
Yeah.
Won't return his
Yeah.
calls, won't do anything.
Yeah.
And Charles Barkley calls out everybody. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
They're an idiot.
And he said he's
they're
hurt.
Stupid.
Charles did say he's hurt by that.
Yeah, I want to punch him in the mouth. Yeah, he says, I'm hurt. but he doesn't call Michael out on that.
Nope.
And that's because Michael's petty.
Yep.
And Michael,
Michael Petty is
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Michael has the ear. Well, first
Michael
of all,
is the most petty.
Yeah.
That Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy flew in the coach and the guy who made the team ahead of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
To humiliate them during his speech.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Done
Yep,
with Mike,
yep,
bruh.
yep.
After that.
And-
anyway, go
Yep,
ahead.
yep.
I just
But
had to
Mike-
throw that in.
It's Nike.
Yes.
And
Right.
that is
Right.
a brand.
Right.
Anything that upsets that brand
Right.
is going to have repercussions.
Right.
That's why those motherfuckers, those
Lot of power.
will not talk about.
Exactly right.
That's
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of power.
So
Lot of
Stephen A
power.
has that same power, and a lot of athletes. Listen, NBA players got to hate Stephen A. And
Yeah.
you know, only Kevin Durant really shows his hatred. Kyrie probably does also a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
He buddied up with Curry. They
Yeah,
used
yeah,
to have
yeah.
a little bit of a rivalry.
Who was Michael's draft choice? Kwame Brown hates
Oh, yeah,
Stephen A.
yeah.
Yeah. So there are plenty of athletes that hate Stephen
Kwame
A.
Brown looks like he will fight for real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey,
guy.
well,
But
Bruh.
Stephen A. has that microphone.
Yeah.
And so whatever disdain you have for him, you've got to hold it in because he's got more airtime than you have.
Yeah,
that's
true.
You can't win that battle.
well, that's like talking about those guys smoking weed, and he knows those guys smoking.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, that, to me, I'm going.
He knows where a lot of the bodies are buried.
He does.
Yep.
But to say that is kind of like a power move.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey,
Yeah, yeah,
I know who's
yeah,
smoking,
yeah,
so,
yeah. Right.
you know, talk some shit.
yeah.
I
But it's
let you-
always-
But he would never divulge
yeah.
that
No,
type of personal
I
information.
don't think
Because
so,
no one would
but-
ever talk to him. I mean, that would be the end
And
of
there
it.
you go.
Yeah.
But that's where he came out with LeBron, and he made a couple false statements.
Right.
Ooh, I'm thinking people were on his ass because that was
It
not.
just wasn't an intelligent thing to do, even
not
if it
at
was the
all.
truth.
Yep. Right?
It wasn't an
Right.
intelligent thing to
No.
do. It's like, wait a
No,
minute.
that again, it got petty.
no.
Yeah, that's very
Like nobody said, like he didn't run that by anybody. Oh man,
No,
when we come on air today,
Yeah,
I'm gonna light
rip
him
this
up.
up.
And
Yeah.
nobody said, whoa.
Whoa, he was there, man. What are you talking about?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, you heard that that guy, I guess he was an editor or something at ESPN that got caught
on the hot
microphone
mic?
criticizing- talking about Stephen A.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
just a
yeah, yeah.
narcissist.
Well, you could imagine.
Oh my God.
How he struts around there.
Yeah.
Probably takes his last donut down
Yeah, oh yeah. You know,
man.
yeah.
That's his world, bro.
Yeah.
Probably got a damn parking spot up front with
man.
his name and all that
doubt,
shit.
man.
No doubt, man.
Got
Somebody comes out with an umbrella if it's
Yep.
raining.
Yep.
He probably got all that shit going on.
No.
But,
Okay.
pardon me. Okay, good. While we were on LeBron, though, I did want to talk about that couple of games there. One, I think it was the Pacers. He won on the
With the tip in.
With the tip
Yeah,
in,
yep.
which was awesome.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Which was awesome.
Yep.
And then the next night, uncharacteristic turnover by
Yeah.
LeBron
Yeah.
Yep.
to lose against Chicago on the buzzer beater half court shot. But the sequence that led up to that was unbelievable, right?
He first left his man to guard somebody else, and that left the dude open for the first corner three.
Yeah.
LeBron
Right,
gets the ball to
first
take
one.
it out, and not even the guy that's guarding the guy he's passing to gets
Right.
it. The guy that's
guarding LeBron
Yeah.
steals the ball.
He steals the ball, and he
And, so-
gives it for
and-
three.
and what does LeBron say? It was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
You gotta just say,
with myself.
Right.
Yeah.
You say it's a bad pass.
Yeah, that's all.
He will not.
I screwed up.
He will not take account.
All
He
right.
will not own that
Listen,
shit.
officially, because there's like a snowball's chance in hell, we will get LeBron on here one day. It was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
Just so we were
Come
clear
on,
that.
LeBron. Remember the days, man. Come on.
Three brothers. Let me pop in some takes.
Yeah.
They said what?
Bro, we went shit in my coach.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. You were
I'm
football
just coach.
He's right there in the picture where the dude hits a half-court shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, right
Yeah.
there, right.
So this
Giddy
the end of the
goes
game
a long way.
has him all over. So the fact that he goes from that high, where he hits the game winner
Yeah.
with like a quarter of a second left,
Yeah,
he gets
yeah,
that tip
yeah.
off, to this where clearly
Debacle.
a game that the Lakers were leading
Oh,
by
they had
16
won.
going
Right.
into the fourth
And
quarter.
they were tied with Memphis.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
did this
Yeah.
game.
Big time.
and up by 5 or 6
With
with
a-
6 seconds, 5
Right.
seconds left.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
It was like the
With
Reggie Miller game.
Reggie Miller, when he kept taking the ball and shooting.
Yeah. Who was that he played?
Against the Knicks.
Knicks. That
Was the Knicks,
Knicks,
of
right.
course, because he did the
choke
whole
sign.
choke
Yeah.
sign.
Oh, my
right.
God.
Yeah. Unbelievable. All right. So while we are on sports, I want to.
LeBron, we're still looking for you on this. All right.
Yeah, LeBron. Man, fuck them, man. I got you.
Yeah, I hate Stephen A. Just so you know.
Okay. The men and women's Final Four. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So,
Yeah.
interesting on the men's side. All the number ones advanced to the Final Four: Duke, Auburn, Houston, and Florida. And then on the women, we have South Carolina, Texas, UCLA, and UConn. Let me ask you about the women first, because man, I was hoping USC had got in there, but Juju got injured.
Yeah. In a terrible injury, too.
Changed everything.
That's an ACL at this late in the year.
Right.
So she's done for how much of next year? She was the one that would have maybe carried USC to the title. But she is the face of basketball.
I wanted to ask you, though, bro, as a pro athlete. Because you've seen your share of these injuries. How bad is a ACL on a woman versus a man?
Well,
does that make a difference?
Well, if I say too much, it's my ass, because I'm gonna hear about it. It's no different, but it isn't as much. But you got to remember, she's young, she's talented as can be, athletically smooth. ACLs and knees, depending on how they're repaired, come back. It's the mindset.
So it doesn't matter, male,
physically,
female.
Physically, she'll be fine. You think, but again, mindset is: do I wear a brace? How do I move? Does it change things I do? Because you think about it. You come back and you go, hell, let me test this out. Now, they do a phenomenal job nowadays, but that's still, you're looking at next year for her to come back out.
10 to 12 months.
Oh, yeah. That you're going to look at that she's not going to be herself. She's not going to be the Juju that everybody expects. Okay. So that's it. Again, everything's been sped up healing-wise. So ACLs aren't as bad as surgeries anymore, but it's definitely not a good one.
You ever had an ACL?
It was not good. No, luckily I did not. No. I've got replacement parts. I've got everything else. But even coming back from those, from surgeries, you're just not right. You've
had Achilles, right?
Achilles,
yes.
So, that's a challenge. But ACLs, I don't think they're that long. But it takes a while before you're 100%. So you're able to play.
Right.
But you're not able to trust your ability.
Do you have that brace on? Right.
To be able to do that. Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
They'll cut down. Some people will get out of a brace, never bother them at all. Some people wear some type of brace on it forever, and it just depends. But to your point,
but to explode and cut and jump and know that it's going to be okay.
That's where that hesitation comes in. That's what I thought, the healing and everything. It'll take its process, you'll feel good. But to get out and make those kind of moves, and again, she's a very smooth player. She can do it all. But I'm going, that's a mind thing too.
My favorite reference would be the NFL, where if a player has an ACL, they come back from that first one. And they can perform. I'm thinking Nick Chubb is
right. Chubb definitely came to mind.
But that second one, that one, man, there just is a point where you're just never going to be the person.
Was Chubb same knee or different knee?
I think it was a different knee.
Can you check that, Junior?
But
I know he's had more than one because he had one in college.
But that's just it too, though. The wear and tear on the body of Chubb doing this for 6-7 years. John, you just get old.
Running back.
You get old quick. Two knee injuries, and next thing you know, I'm starting to creak a little bit. I'm not moving as well. It is the fact the NFL stands for not for long. So much so that the average player doesn't make it to like 26 years old.
So Saquon would be a great example.
Exactly right.
He had an ACL.
Yes.
And
he sure did.
And so he came clearly.
He
is back to 100%.
No problem.
Yeah.
Both left knee.
Both left knee.
Yeah, that's the ones you worry about, man. Because next thing you know, they're putting stuff in there. There's staples in there. Or there's a different ligament.
Or what is
the tendon? Well, they'll take your ACL. They used to use cadaver ones to put in there in your leg to make that strong and better. But still, it's the mindset of I've done this twice, and all you got to do is start cut a little different or something else, and all of a sudden that injury's back again. And it changes the way you play.
Listen, the difference between a great back, that little bit of quickness,
you're
you know
right,
what I mean?
Absolutely.
That makes a difference. It really does.
Yeah, and you see that Saquon, it doesn't bother. That's why. Look at that moves.
Man,
No.
Well, it's unfortunate, and I think earlier you had talked about the viewership for the men versus the women. Now, was it last year when the women outperformed the men?
Yeah.
With
and I was one of them. I didn't watch a minute of the men's.
Caitlin Clark,
and
Glued
Angel Reese.
and Angel Reese.
Angel Reese.
I wanted to see Paige Becker go up against Juju this year.
And I think everybody was.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like Paige Becker's and UConn's opportunity to lose it. They're probably favored, even though South Carolina and Don Staley's group is one of the top. UConn's playing.
South Carolina's winning ugly, but they're winning.
Right, they're winning. And Bugles just had 40 the other night.
Right.
They're playing like crazy, like, oh, UConn. So I would kind of favor UConn in it.
Okay.
But it's not quite the matchups
that
everybody was
not
expecting.
The
now the star-studded.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's, again, caused the viewership problem because they would have really built that up. Jaquez from UCLA, it's the sister of Jaime Jaquez that played for UCLA, the man that plays for the Miami Heat now. And they've got a great program, but it's not the build-up that they had going forward with Future. And that's often right now the men's.
I'm a casual viewer, but that's something I would have
tuned into. Absolutely.
There's probably a ton of.
I think that there's a million. Exactly.
I remember Iowa LSU last year.
Right. I couldn't wait for that.
Miss that game.
I couldn't wait for that to come on.
Right. We all look forward to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But stay right with it. Yeah.
Okay. What about the men's?
The men's, everybody's kind of knocking a little bit because all number ones made it for like the first time.
Now, is this good? This is good.
It's not good or bad, I don't think, because it's all about the NIL.
No Cinderellas, though.
Well, you had some Cinderellas making it, but also you had some injuries, some things happen. Well, we had some upsets. We had some teams that got knocked out. But I think this year you're looking at an Auburn team with depth, age on their side. You're looking at a Florida team, depth, size, ability. You're looking at a Duke team that's young, depth, size, speed. They got it all. Okay. And Houston is a team that got veterans on it, got a couple young guys. But I'll tell you what, Sampson did a great job of them. The way they pressure and play defense is dynamite. So you're seeing great games. The biggest thing that's going to happen is, and why you're seeing some of the big coaches being fired now, like Maryland's coach left, then Iowa's coach gets fired and all, because the NIL now, you've got to be able to compete.
Yep.
They're putting these leagues together. You've got to be in those playoffs and competing. Now, you may be able to lose, but you better have some people coming in. Akron U, who had another back-to-back years of getting in, they're keeping almost all their players.
That's good.
They're staying, which is hard to find.
And that's the value of, say, a lower tier program. These guys don't have visions of, being on Sports Illustrated at 19 years old.
And who's offering them kind of NIL?
Exactly. And so they can compete because they know how to play team basketball. They know what each other is going to be doing.
And they're getting taken care of. I imagine they got some decent NIL here. So, why are we going to try it somewhere else? And look for this when I have it right here. So I think that was real big for them. But the other teams, it's all about the free agency, just like in football. You're seeing teams get better, and they're joining these super leagues. And these super teams, the Big Ten of basketball now. The SEC, the ACC's kind of out of the loop in basketball. You're going to see people sinking money in. And they're going to say, hey, listen, it's really funny that we look at schools as far as the educational part. Now, let me tell you something. Right to everybody out there, football, basketball sells your school. Nothing else. Nothing else sells your school. Otherwise, you could go online. Football and basketball sell your school, and it makes tons of money. And man, I tell you, if you're not in that top, and you could be, no. That's why Calipari went to Arkansas, because they're telling, hey, listen, man. Money's here.
Well, look what Deion did with Colorado.
There's a great one with football. Exactly. Hey, he's out there now. Look at he ain't wanting to go nowhere.
Right.
Colorado's going to be a power.
Stephen A. saying he's still underpaid. He's got the new contract. I think Deion $25 million a year or something. So who are you taking to win?
My bracket is, I got busted on other teams, but my bracket is still staying. I had those guys in the final, and I've got Duke beating Florida in the final. I just think
Cooper Flagg, huh?
I'm gonna tell you something. This kid and this, he worked out.
I didn't know he was a freshman.
He worked out. He just turned 18 in December, and he worked out with the NBA All-Stars when they were going over to the Olympics. And to a man, they were saying
he was lighting them up.
This dude is a real deal. Anthony Davis, some guys were saying, "Damn." I mean,
who do you like in him too in the NBA?
You know what? It's kind of hard to say because let me explain how he is. He's 6'10". He can dribble. He had 30 points, 6 boards, 7 assists, 3 blocks, and a couple steals of the night. He loves playing defense. he will defend you. So he can guard all 5 positions, and he's not afraid of contact. If he gets a mouse in the house, man, I'm going to take you. I'm going to work you. But he can shoot threes. He shoots foul shots. He's a great passer.
Yeah.
I mean, he can do it, dribble up the court, brings the ball up. He reminds you of, God, man, I wouldn't know who to really say right now.
Yeah.
But he is the antithesis of that 6'10" guy that's so versatile. He can play every position. He can be a guard for us.
Yeah.
He's that guy. And he's that good. And again, only at 18. So I think he's him and the team. And I was kid Malik Brown, who had the shoulder injury for Duke, came back. He's playing. They're healthy. And the way they play defense, I'll tell you, there's a guy named Knipple on their team. It's a 6'6" freshman. He's another freshman.
This is Duke still? Okay.
Let me tell you something. He shoots 97% from the foul line. He's 6'6", and he'll tell you, I can't jump. I ain't all that all-star. But I'll tell you what, he'll knock your ass down and shoot jumpers on you all day. He can pass, rebound. They are just a very deep, talented young team. They aren't afraid of nothing. And I just really like the way they play. And again, Florida, I can't like too much. I hate the Gators. You know, so I got to go against them. But our boy from
it's in your blood.
Our boy from the Gators, the guard we talked about, basically took it home. Brooms from Auburn.
Brooms Auburn. I'm sorry.
But Clayton from
Clayton. Yeah.
He took control of that game and won it. They were close to losing that game. He took over and won it, and that's what he can do. But I got to go with Duke on this. Okay. It's going to be good though, because I tell you, Houston and Auburn. Dynamite teams. So anybody can win it, but I got to stick with
Who'd you pick on the women's side? I don't think I asked.
You know what? I'm going with UConn, even though I like Don Staley repeating with the South Carolina team. I just think UConn has that look of the old UConn teams.
Yeah.
And Becker's just playing the way she is, and they've got a damn good team.
Yeah.
And Gino's a nut, so I just think it looks like a UConn win.
Gino's teams are always prepared, brother.
Absolutely.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and he's been down because of injuries, a few things like that.
Yeah.
But, man, when he gets them back and they're playing well, damn hard team to beat.
Okay. Okay, good. Sound like you've been on top of it. I think we got everything. Well, I do want to talk about the brawl the other night.
Oh, yeah.
The NBA brawl.
Man,
Haven't seen a good brawl in a long time. First of all, I like that kid at Detroit, the center, the big guy. Brown had hit him with an elbow and cut his lip or nose or something.
Not Stewart, but it's the other guy.
Who's the center?
It's the other guy,
center,
the big rebounded one. Oh, my goodness.
Junior, who's the center at
It'll come to me. He rebounds. He does everything.
It's not Stewart?
I think it's
Anyway, I'm really impressed with him.
Yes.
I didn't know his defense was that good. He's outstanding.
He'll block shots. He'll score. He rebounds like a machine. Jalen Duran.
The center, the big guy?
Jalen Duran is the cat.
That's the one that LeBron hit. That's what I'm talking about, Isaiah Stewart.
Stewart's another good one, but Durant is kind of like that guy you don't know about that can bang on the boards, rebound. I'm telling you, I love their team, the way they play.
I do too.
They're very good.
They got me to thinking, though, because we just don't see them anymore, these brawls, right? And I don't want to advocate for that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is a little bit entertaining. I think that the most famous was the one at the Palace.
Malice in the Palace,
right.
yeah.
But it got me thinking of some old school brawls that we used to see back in the day. Do you remember any NBA, NFL, anything come to mind?
You know what one comes to mind, though, and it takes into another sport where fighting is kind of the norm.
Right.
But in hockey, when 1996, I believe, it was the Philadelphia Flyers and the Buffalo Sabres. And I'm talking about dudes that were knocked out on the ice, got back up and went after people charging to fight. And then there they let you fight unless you hit the ground. Well, one guy said, I'm not wanting to fight. Other guy said, I don't give a shit. Came up and started beat the hell out.
Fight or take
and the officials, they get in when you're on the ground. Only when you're on the ground. That's the rule.
Yep.
And they say because some of the punching, because you got to balance on skates, it's not as hard.
Yeah.
But you see these guys wailing up.
Because they just can't get the leverage because of
the leverage, exactly.
Yeah.
But they just let it go, and they go, and then people jump out of the boxes. They just start attacking other guys on the other team.
Listen, I've seen a hockey game where the opening whistle, nobody went for the puck. They all just started fighting each other. So they knew they were going to fight before the game started. And I don't know what had happened to Bad Blood. I don't follow hockey that closely.
Me neither,
but that just blew me away, man.
That was one of the ones, because you were talking about what my roommate in college, my buddy Ian Sinclair, a Canuck man, and he was a skater. And he got opportunities to play hockey in college, but he played center for us in college. But he used to tell stories about that. And he said, man, it's like the industrial leagues they have up there. They taped an official up in the locker room one time. Taped his ass up because he said he wasn't calling calls right, throwing beers on him, everything else. Then he said a young guy was talking trash to one of those officials, and he said the official punched him right in the mouth on the ice and laid him out. And he goes, that's just kind of like expected up here.
Right.
That's how they play. But those games, like you said, that Buffalo game, the opposing goalie out of nowhere skated the length of the ice and jumped on the other goalie and went to whooping his ass. Yeah, I mean, I was like, they said, he's coming out. He goes, the other goalie didn't want it, but he's coming all the way down. He's skating like that, comes all the way in, dives in, and just starts
wailing.
Oh, my, and the guy's laid out on the ice. They're checking on him. He gets up and he's had enough. He gets up and finds that cat and just starts beating the hell out of him.
Oh, my God.
Now, we'll have to have a discussion at some point in time, not today, but of the racist implication of these fights in sports. Hockey can fight all day.
Yeah.
NBA, you take one step onto that court. If you're not in the game,
Bam.
You're suspended. You're out of it. You know what I mean? NFL doesn't tolerate that stuff.
Right.
But baseball will tolerate those bench clearing brawls.
Yeah.
So sports that have a majority or a large number of black players fighting is just not allowed.
Not allowed.
Sports where they're primarily white, it's just part of the sport. It's part of the culture of the sport.
It's funny you said that in baseball because the other one was the Cincinnati-Pittsburgh brawl with a pitcher in Cincinnati. The Pittsburgh players were hollering out in the mound, and you could tell he was looking at the coach like, I don't know, I'm going to take him on this shit. Until he ran to the dugout and just started knocking the shit out of it.
Wait a minute, who knocked out?
A Cincinnati pitcher went after the dugout of the Pittsburgh Pirates because they were harassing him from their call.
Really?
And he's like, I had enough. And he just took off. And everybody emptied, man. And there were coaches being thrown out. It was nuts.
You don't see that out of pitchers too much.
No.
I was thinking about Myles Garrett when he took the guy's helmet off and beat the hell out of him.
What's his name?
The kid from Pittsburgh. Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Wait a minute, that was Miles' helmet. Was that Mason's helmet?
Yeah.
He used Mason's helmet to hit him?
Right, but you know what?
It was.
You know what I had to do?
That scared me to death because he's so big. I said he's going to...
I had to explain to our high school kids about that because helmets and fighting and all that, they asked me to mention to them.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, man, there's a point you reach, and I said, Garrett reached it.
Yeah.
Where you flip that switch.
Uncharacteristic. He went off.
You can't come back until you come down.
Yeah. Right.
And I said, what happens is when you take a helmet and you're beating a guy, you switched.
Yeah.
Right? Someone needs to dive and hold him down, let him come down.
Yeah.
Because until he comes down, it's not going to stop.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also used it as kind of motivation. I'm going, flip that damn switch, knock the hell out of it. I said, I'll hold you down the side, we'll turn it off, all right? But have that kind of mentality. But he just, again, that was one of them flips because he's hit the guy with the helmet as big as he is.
You got some. Give me a good football fight when you were playing.
One was a good one was we were playing at the University of Cincinnati when I was at the University of Miami. Now, the University of Cincinnati was some tough son of a bitch.
Wait a minute. That's the game we went to see. Me and Nicky
down
Neal.
in Cincinnati.
Yeah, we came to see that game.
Now, when we played them in Miami, there was kind of some leftover baggage from the year before, right? Well, there were some trash talking going, and we always played a close game. I don't care. They were just tough. We played a close game. Well,
whatever reason.
A little ruckus down the sidelines, and one of their players kept trying to run, I guess, and we accidentally threw him into the wall about 8
So
yards.
he was on your sideline?
I don't know which one it was, but it wasn't good. And we threw him all the way over there, and players started coming. And it was just... But the funny thing is, whenever you see a guy take his helmet off, please hit him. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Man,
why do football players take their helmet off? Like, why is that the first move?
You're a nut. Yeah, man, you're protected. Man, then on. You could throw like crazy.
It is. I've had my face mask grabbed before.
Right.
That does throw your balance
Oh,
off.
absolutely.
Somebody snatches your head, that your balance done. Like, you got to grab that to settle yourself before you can do anything.
Right. Exactly right.
So I kind of see that. But
and that pretty much happened. Man, it took coaches coming down and everything, man. Officials throwing flags. But it was almost like, it kind of gets a little crazy because you almost get that perverted laugh. Everybody going, here we go. Come on, here, smack his ass. and that ain't good. So, a couple of those happened, but
Too bad Stephen A. wasn't there to help you.
oh my God, yeah, he just throw some blow. No, the best thing too is, man, don't go punching the guy in the helmet. Now if good points right here, hand underneath the helmet jacks you up.
We've seen guys.
I've used that. That's a nice one. But the other one, you got to go to the gut because there has no pads. Anywhere else there's pads, man. So you got to give them a little blow to go. But that little bit of here and there.
Any brawls you could recall?
I got a few, actually. Starting from my childhood, you've got to remember Otis Taylor and Ted Hendricks. When Kansas City played
and
Oakland.
Yes.
Now, back in the day, and actually,
That's great.
2 rivalries. Cleveland and Pittsburgh used to be the biggest rivalry in the league.
Yeah.
Even when Pittsburgh was dominating Cleveland, it was still the biggest rivalry.
Right.
Because those games were good. But Kansas City, Oakland,
That
boy.
was
monstrous.
That's right.
That's kind of the West Coast one.
And Ted Hendricks, Lenny Dawson was the
And what
quarterback.
did that? What led to? Like I can see
Lenny
Cleveland.
Dawson was scrambling. He got tackled. After the play, Ted Hendricks came and just put his helmet right into Len Dawson's
Is this
back
kind of
or
what
his
started
chest.
the rivalry? Or they were already,
no,
it was already bad blood?
it was already
First
bad
I
blood.
remember of.
Okay.
That's all I can say. And so Ted Hendricks was like, I don't know, he's like,
Oh, yeah.
Ted Hendricks.
Can I tell you,
exactly.
he's a Miami Hurricane. He's a
Hendricks?
Yeah, I know Ted.
Okay, the story. What they call him?
But Otis
mascot.
Taylor went after him. He grabbed him by the head, man, and then it was just a bench-clearing brawl.
I remember that.
Oakland, Kansas City was controlling that game, but I think because of all the penalties and everybody got thrown out of the game,
it's crazy.
Oakland ended up winning the game. I think that's how it ended up.
Well, Lenny Dawson was from Alliance, Ohio. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, another home guy.
I remember Oakland. The league would not let Oakland and Pittsburgh play for 3 or 5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was the Tatum and Atkinson. What they did to Swan and those
Lawsuit
guys.
when Chuck Noll tried to sue Tatum and Atkinson. Yeah.
Remember
Or Lynn
Udo?
Swan tried to sue him, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think Atkinson clotheslined him and drug him across the field.
But remember the hit across the middle. Though.
Noll had to get on the stand and admit that Pittsburgh had a criminal element to their team. That's why.
That's back when football was football.
Back when football was football,
Yeah.
bro.
But another one, and I don't know if you guys remember this. This is the most brutal thing that I've ever seen in my life. Was Kermit Washington.
Oh God,
And Rudy
T.
Tom.
That was the most brutal thing I ever seen.
Oh yeah, brutal.
I thought Rudy was dead.
Exactly right.
I have never.
He never saw it coming
worst
either.
thing in the world.
Well, it changed his life.
Yeah,
it really
life
did.
has
It
never
really
changed.
did.
both of their life.
Yeah, there was a
Kermit
documentary
Washington
on that.
Could not go to the South to play basketball.
That's right.
after
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
Yeah, it was
That was
absolutely brutal.
unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And Rudy T had nothing to do with
I
that.
know, and a guy that size running up and just everything.
If you don't remember how big Kermit Washington, he was huge.
Yeah.
It took him months, if I
he
recall
broke his
correctly,
joint.
to recover.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He was never the same
brutal.
either.
Absolutely
He really wasn't.
Yeah, that was bad.
Oh my God,
That was
that's a
bad.
great.
Yeah. And I had one more, which I know everybody remembers also, was when Maurice Lucas hit Daryl Dawkins in the back of the head with a forearm.
Yeah.
When Cleveland was playing Portland, and not Cleveland, Philly was playing Portland in the finals.
Right.
And they ended up losing that finals to Portland.
Right.
They won the first 2, and then they lost
Right.
4 straight. But at some point during that series, Daryl Dawkins wanted to get in a fight with somebody, and Mo Luke hit him in the back of the head with a forearm.
But wait a minute. Before that happened, Daryl Dawkins, trying to hit one of the Portland players, hit Doug Collins. Oh, man.
That guy was trying to be a peacemaker.
Right, and caught it right in the face. Yeah. Oh, man. But Maurice Lucas was nobody
Well,
to
he was
play
the
with.
enforcer back then.
Yeah.
That's what I
Man,
think.
bro. It was a handful. Him,
Yeah.
that guy at Seattle.
Xavier McDaniel, was that you talking about?
Not Xavier.
Him? No.
When I tell you, he looked like K9. What was
Oh
this?
man, like Kane.
The big forward, power forward.
Sean Kemp.
Nope. Give me the
that keep
power
coming
forward
back.
for Seattle Seahawks, 1979.
Seattle Supersonics.
Supersonic.
Supersonics. Oh man, you could kill me with this.
When I say his
But
name,
others would be
Sean-
Charles Oakley,
Charles Oakley,
Charles
Anthony
Oakley.
Mason, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, Anthony.
Yeah, he
Mason
came
was.
later.
Uh-huh.
No. No, the forward for Seattle Supersonics, 1979.
Lonnie Shelton.
Oh, is that right?
Lonnie Shelton.
Yes,
you don't remember Lonnie Shelton?
I remember him, but
He
I
was
didn't think
thick as
that he
hell.
was.
You know
Lonnie
what?
Shelton was nobody to
I
mess
said
with.
Shelton right then because
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything else. Like,
Lonnie
there's
Shelton.
Lonnie Shelton. Yes.
Him,
Thick fella.
Xavier McDaniels came a little bit later.
Yeah.
Maurice Lucas.
Yeah.
There were just a handful of guys.
Little short dude from Houston. Who was that?
Oh, Calvin Murphy.
Calvin
Murphy
Murphy.
was fighting.
Yeah.
He didn't mind fighting.
Jerry Sloan from
Right.
Utah.
Jerry Sloan was a fighter.
Nut, man. Yeah, he was a nut.
That's right.
It was just some guys you just didn't mess
Yeah,
with.
no, exactly. That's
And later on, Vernon Maxwell was
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah, those guys are
Oh,
raw.
man.
Yeah, I think Maxwell handled Oakley, if I'm not mistaken.
That was Xavier.
Oh,
X-Man.
okay.
Choke him out.
X-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xavier was crazy. Oh, my God.
Great times.
I was trying to think of another. That was the football reference. Turkey Joe Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
When
man.
he slammed pitch.
Bradshaw?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
never
Like a
forget that.
seizure
man.
on the field.
Picked him up in the air, dropped him on his head.
Now, was that the same game when Mean Joe Green kicked Doug Dinkins in the nuts?
I don't
That
know.
was not the same game.
I don't know because they had a hell of a rifle, though. But that was something, man.
Yeah.
When he dropped him on his head, I was like, oh, Jesus. Nowadays, man, he'd be in jail.
Oh, man.
He'd be out of football.
All right, so I know we went off on a tangent on that.
Did we?
So we are going to wrap up this segment. I wanted to mention a couple things, actually. One, we're going to have our What Grinds Your Gears coming up. I can't believe I didn't mention this. Our hidden gem for this
Oh,
week,
man.
Austin Carr. And I
Yes.
want to preview that here shortly. But the last thing I want to talk about before we conclude this is we have done this. This is our 4th podcast, and we had 2 or 3 interviews before. It seems like every week
Yeah.
we're losing legends, right? It
Oh,
was,
my God,
Andy
yeah.
Stone.
Yeah.
It was
The singer, what's her name?
Roy Ayers. Another lady I'm missing with Donnie Hathaway. Roberta Flack.
Yep.
And so last week we just lost Big George Foreman.
Yep.
Yeah, so it seems like every week, man, we're losing a
Yeah,
legend. So I
man.
wanted to just
Big humble guy. I like George.
couple things on Big George Foreman. He was married 5 times. He had 12 kids.
I didn't know he's married 5 times.
5 times. He had 5 sons, all named George.
Yeah.
And I just read something today when he was asked, why did you name all your sons George? He said, because we're going to come up together. If one come up, we all come up.
Yeah.
And if one goes down, we're going to all go down together. So we're going to all be named George. He was the oldest heavyweight champ in history at 46 years of age. I think he beat Michael Moore.
Yeah, good call.
And obviously lost to Ali in the
Rumble in the Jungle.
Rumble in the Jungle. And just a classic fight. So
Yeah.
beyond his boxing career, was one of the most successful businessmen.
Yeah.
Particularly athlete to business ever with that George Foreman
Yeah.
grill. Sold over 100 million units of the George Foreman grill. And he ended up selling it in 1999. He sold the rights to the grill. I didn't know this. Before he sold that, he was getting $4.5 million a month in royalties.
Wow.
On the sale of the George Foreman grill.
Man,
He ended up selling it for $137 million back in 97 or something like that. So 1999.
Oh, my God. Yeah, good
So,
point.
yeah,
And it was
Big George Foreman, man.
Yeah.
And he's a big, humble guy, though.
humble
So
guy.
lovable after looking so vicious early on in his life.
Yeah.
He was Sonny Liston at the beginning.
Yeah,
of his
right.
He was the meanest. He
Yep.
was the most unlikable
Yeah.
figure in
Yeah.
boxing. He just
Yep.
was just cruel. And the reason he was that way, I was telling you guys that I talked about this earlier, is because when he started boxing and he started coming up, in the pro ranks, being very successful, he went out to a couple of restaurants and he saw some famous athletes. One of them was Jim Brown. And so I know you've had some interaction with Jim Brown. He ain't the most pleasant person in the world. God bless him. All right. He ain't the
Love
most
Jimmy.
pleasant person in the
R.I.P.
world.
Jimmy B.
Yeah, so Jim Brown blew him off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was another person that did it, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been Doc, quite frankly. And I can't believe Dr. J would do this, but it was somebody else that did the same thing to him. And so he said, okay, well, I guess if you become a star, that's how you treat people. And so that was his initial
Wow.
reason why
Right.
he became the way that he became. But I've never seen a human being
Yeah.
have a turnaround to be
Yeah.
from going to that dislike to becoming that beloved.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can't fathom that he would have an enemy, man. He would just,
Correct.
No, yeah,
he
that's a good
never
point.
said an ill word about Ali.
No.
Regardless of all the things
actually
that Ali had
praised
said about
everybody.
him.
What got me to love him was his accountability.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
said, I was the dope in the roper
right,
dope.
right,
And
yeah,
Ali let
yeah,
me punch myself
yeah.
out. How many major athletes
Especially-
take accountability for those
the
short
times
falls?
that you got beat.
Yeah, and he owned it.
And he said there were a lot of
And
boxers.
he talked about how great Ali was and other boxers. So,
Yeah.
Listen.
I love humility. when I say
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Listen,
absolutely.
I hate bullies, man. More than anything on this planet, I hate bullies. That's why I hate Trump so much, quite frankly.
Yeah.
He's just a bully.
Yeah.
But if I were to make a comparison, I would say Shaq is sort of the same way in terms of a person.
Yeah.
He is the biggest,
Oh,
baddest dude on the planet. But he is just humble. He doesn't, he's not a Charles Barkley where he
Super
talks
generous.
about punching you in the mouth.
Right, right.
You know what? He just is kind and, quite frankly, humorous to everybody that he meets. He's a good guy.
And he's done a lot of things that people probably aren't aware of.
Yeah.
To charities and everything.
Yep.
I mean,
I got to give Mike Tyson some credit too, though.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike has been extremely generous. He is as self-deprecating a person I've ever seen. He won't call us. He won't let you call him great and all this kind of stuff. People have compared him to Ali, who would win. He said, "Hey, listen, I bow down to Ali. Ali was the greatest ever."
Yeah.
In reality, it'd have been a hell of a fight.
You know
I don't know if
what,
Ali
right.
would have won or not.
But you know what the
Tyson
thing
just
I love
totally
that he
gives it up.
And what a great historian it is.
Oh,
of the
isn't
game.
he? He is. He studies.
Yes.
And so that's respect for his craft.
Right. I think people looked at him as just
He talks about
little
Jersey Joe
kid.
Wilcox
Yes.
and
he studied films
Absolutely.
and he watched people.
Yeah.
Worst thing that happened to him was when he got away from Customano and got caught up with the other guy. Man. It just, I think
King
that
got his-
got him.
Yeah, got
but
hooks in him.
To his,
Don King, and let's give Robin Givens her credit. Also.
Oh, God.
She damn sure wasn't the greatest thing that ever happened.
Nope.
Well, Robin Givens had a business plan. Let's call it what it is.
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
You got to be smart enough to know when you reach that level that you're a target.
Yep.
And so you got to vet people and protect yourself and
Right.
I mean, but the guy grew up without.
I ain't gonna argue with you on that, but he couldn't know. There's no way that he could know. It's sort of like LeBron at 18 is a miracle that he's done the things that he's done as a professional.
It really is.
He just didn't have
no,
the
it really
You know
is.
what I mean?
No.
LeBron is not the rule. He is the
exception.
18
And
years
so
old.
Mike Tyson, listen, I don't even know where his parents were in his life. I never heard of them. But Customado was the guy that he loved. He lost him.
Yeah.
Listen, he's got all the money in the world. He's the baddest man on the planet.
Right.
You got to fall victim to that at some point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't blame him.
Well, he's accountable for all that he's done wrong in his life.
No, exactly.
Said, hey, I don't want my kids to be like me.
I'm not saying he deserves it.
No.
I'm saying he should not have accountability for Robin Givens.
Right,
Because he's just out of his league with regard to that.
yeah.
In terms
And he
of,
got caught up.
not that she's a better person to him, but she was so unbelievably manipulative.
She was
Yeah.
He
experienced.
could not fathom that somebody would be that doggone
We've all
manipulative.
been beyond our
No,
depth
absolutely.
a time or two there in our youth,
No,
right?
no, absolutely. No.
It happens.
But with LeBron though, and that's for another day though, I have never seen the maturity or the way to handle the kind of press he was handling
LeBron, so
at
thinking
15,
about coming
16
home.
years old.
Yep.
And I've always told you that, man, that that cat was way beyond how he kept things close and under
really
control. How I did it.
Yeah,
to
he
be
really
honest.
was.
I admire him. I like him. I don't want to meet him.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to be shattered.
Really?
I like the way that I think of him right now.
So you're saying you don't want him on the show then?
No,
huh?
I want him on the show.
Yeah.
I just don't want to meet him, man. I don't know how to describe that, but if he says,
You don't want him to be less than.
if he
What's your
or any of
expectation?
his guys, if they just come on and they're in any way disrespectful, I don't respect somebody because
Yeah. No.
unless they are respectful to other people.
Yeah.
Let's.
If you are not respectful to other people, then I don't have
All
any respect for
indications
you
are
at all.
that he is, though.
Yeah,
I've not
you know
heard
what?
it.
Yeah. I do agree, but
Yeah.
Stephen A. would be an example of that. Whatever he said to Windhorse, I don't know what he said about Windhorse.
right.
That did bother
You know what I
me.
mean?
Now,
That bothers
I have to get to the bottom of that too, because he's never been that way. And again, I can't speak of lately because I haven't seen him. But from the way he was and the way Maverick Carter was, and Maverick Carter, I used to say he's the biggest bullshitter. Mav could talk to anybody, and it's nice to be have a conversation with a nun. It didn't mean he was that talented at doing that. And I always told him, I said, man, you can either be a politician or businessman or something. Because he just had that ability. He was really that way.
Nice.
And it worked out real well for him. And he's still he sounds the same as he always did.
Yeah.
When I saw those guys up at the Coliseum when they were first out, hey, Coach Bro, they holler and do stuff. So,
And listen,
God bless them.
however he would treat us or me pales in comparison to the human being that he is and the things that he's done.
Yeah.
So I want to make that clear.
No, I got you. Yeah.
I'd rather still like him and like all that stuff that he did.
Yeah.
Right.
So
got you.
I'm good the way that it is, quite frankly.
Yeah. So, you know what? And I didn't mean to get that far away from George Foreman. I mean, right? We want to honor Big George and cherish his memory. So, go ahead.
I just want to say one other thing.
Go right ahead.
Nobody said how hard the dude hits. And so I just think we got to. So George Foreman, Sonny Liston, Ernie Shavers.
You got to throw Ron Lyle in there, bro.
Ron Lyle, because, So just some
Who's
of
the Acorn? Shavers, you got him.
Yeah.
Did you get Ken Norton?
No, Ken Norton went in that.
You don't think one of the hardest hitters?
No way.
So who we got? Ernie Shavers,
Ron Lyle,
George Foreman, Mike Tyson.
Well,
You don't have Mike Tyson as one of the hardest hitters?
Quite frankly, he was a volume puncher, man. He would hit you multiple times.
I gotta throw him in there.
I think I
you
threw
got
him
Sonny
in
Liston
there,
in
too.
there
I think
too,
I threw
right?
him
He
there,
didn't have
too.
Foreman power.
I think I
Mike
told
Tyson
you.
does not have Foreman
What
power.
about Joe Lewis? Joe was,
You know what? Yeah.
in his heyday.
Yeah.
You got
And
Sonny
listen,
in there,
I'm
right?
not being critical. Yeah, Sonny Liston, absolutely. And Sonny Liston, now, of the fights that never happened, Sonny Liston, George Foreman, I think would have been one of the greatest fights. Because Sonny Liston was a very good boxer. As well as fighter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, all people remember of him is Ali and all the crap,
Right.
all that stuff. But if you see Sonny Liston fight Floyd Patterson twice, beat the shit out of Floyd Patterson.
He did.
And
And
he did that
enjoyed
with
it.
practically everybody.
Yeah,
'Cause that was his makeup.
Right,
That was his makeup.
right.
Yeah.
How Ali had called the referee against Cooley.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, stop this.
Yeah.
Listen would have never done that.
No.
Nah, he'd kill you.
Yeah.
So,
So, I love George Foreman. Hell of a life lived.
yeah.
And we're going to miss you for sure.
Don't miss you.
Yeah.
Rest in
Absolutely.
peace, Big George.
Yeah.
Okay, so that concludes this portion of our table talk. Coming up next, it's going to be What Grinds Your Gears. And guess what's back? 5 Minutes with Phil.
Yeah, baby.
Finally, huh?
I got a few emails about the missing segment on 5 Minutes with Phil, but I guarantee he's going to be back this week stronger than ever. He's got a lot of stuff to talk about, so you will not want to miss that. Also, I do want to mention as well the hidden gem, Austin Carr.
Man.
Phenomenal interview. Austin plays golf with us. He's part of our golf group, so we see him often. But I got to tell you what, we had an in-depth conversation with Austin. There was a lot of things I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to be...
That's why you need to listen to it. This guy has so much more.
So much more.
Then I
Great
think
story.
you just think of him,
Great
Mr.
story.
Cavalier.
Do not want to miss our interview with Austin Carr. So all this is coming up. So stay with us. See you shortly.
Columbus, Ohio, but there's the story of the game. A new NCAA and Jim Snyder, a great guy, a terrific coach. Jim Snyder, the Ohio coach, congratulated Austin Carr for breaking the NCAA tournament record. He broke Bill Bradley's record of 58. He got 61, and that's the final score. Notre Dame 112, Ohio University 82.
Well, we're not going to hold you too long. I had to get that out. Let me start by thanking you, AC, for joining us. As you know, we are the Three Brothers Podcast. I know we had a little bit earlier. We had your name for a long time, brother. So we're looking forward to this day. So we're glad that you're joining us.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, hey, I was looking forward to it. Once I found it was my man Doc. I said I got to do it for him.
There you go. I appreciate that. We got a lot of Cavalier questions for you, but first we want to kind of take a step back. Phil missed the meeting earlier, but Jay and I was on the phone with you, and we were just laughing our ass off about all the things you did at Notre Dame, man. Like, brother, you didn't take no prisoners. I got your stats down here. I want to run through some of those real quick before I hit you with a question. These are some of the NCAA tournament records that are still standing today. Most points in the game, you had 61 points versus Ohio back in 1970. Most field goals, you had 25 field goals. Most attempts, 44. So you was 25 or 44 in that game.
Right.
And scoring average in the 7 NCAA playoff games, 50-point average, bro. You serious?
Hey, take a bow, man.
Well, I mean, well, put it this way: it was at that time because we were independent. The tournament meant a lot. It meant more to us probably than a lot of the teams that had conferences.
Yeah.
Because we had no other way to kind of express us but get to the tournament and do. Tournament was big for us, man. So it meant a lot to us, and we were always ready to play.
Yeah, but you had to be a marked man, though, AC.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, that just means I had to be in better shape than everybody, and I had to also be more focused. That's all that meant. I mean, it didn't really mean, I mean, to me, that's how I looked at it. I mean, I realized that people were going to come after me, but at the same time, I kind of relished that because hey, that to me, that's what competition is about. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
I bring it, and you have to stop it.
You know what I like about that, AC, is when you said someone said you had 44 attempts, but you made over 25 of them,
Right.
over 50%.
Right.
People don't shoot over 50%.
Right.
Yeah, well, when I was in high school, my coach used to tell me, he said, "So you can shoot the ball, son." He said, "But if you get 50% or more of them," he says, "I don't care how many times you shoot."
Right.
And so, you know, and so by the time I got to college, in my freshman year, I averaged about almost 50 points then in about the 10 games we played. But, you know, it was just a different, when I got to varsity, it was just different because back then freshmen couldn't play.
Right.
And so,
no
you know,
I mean, let's be clear about that too.
Right. In my sophomore year, I got hurt in the tournament. And in the tournament, I think I only scored about 7 points then. And that was it. And I didn't play again until the following year because I broke my foot and couldn't play anymore. So then after so I didn't want to waste my next 2 years. So I tried to take as much as I could with them and do as much as I could because I wanted to win so bad, man. I wanted to win a championship so bad, but we just couldn't get it done.
Right.
Hey, how did you get to Notre Dame in the first place? You came from DC,
Right.
Yes. Right. Well, there was another guy went to St. John's. His name was Carlos Jones, and another guy named Sid Catlin who went to DeMatha. And we were at the three Catholic schools that were the major Catholic schools there in D.C. area, and we were the best basketball programs there too. So all three of us decided to go. You know, they recruited heavy in D.C. then because a guy named Bob Whitmore, he went to DeMatha. He went to Notre Dame that was right ahead of us. And we all three decided, well, if we can go, man, maybe we can win a championship together. And unfortunately, it didn't work, but it was nice but that's kind of how it all happened. And I really tell you a little story. I went to dinner the night I signed at Notre Dame. I went to dinner with Dean Smith.
Oh, wow.
And Dean knew, and I told him, I said, look, I have to go to dinner with Notre Dame because my father has gone. He almost mandated that I had to do it. So, and I told him, I said, look, I'll come back. And he said that Dean Smith told me, he says, I knew once you left that dinner, you weren't coming back to North Carolina. But that's kind of how it did. I had dinner with Dean, and then I went over to Johnny D and signed to go to Notre Dame.
Okay.
Oh, college coaches know how to close.
Yeah. Well, now imagine now. I mean, like I kind of wish, boy, if I was playing now, ooh, man, that NIL money, I probably could have got
rich before you got on
about 2 or 3 million just to sign the contract.
NIL money? Are you kidding me, bro?
I know, man. It is unbelievable the way things are now. I mean,
I know.
Think about what the Ohio State paid yours $2 million.
Yep.
And then he changed his mind and went to Texas and got $3-4 million.
Isn't that something, man?
Yeah, and I know they're gonna have to change some rules.
Yeah.
Because there's no way if I'm doing business with a young man and his family, and I'm gonna give him the money, then he's gonna turn around and leave.
Yeah.
I don't think schools are gonna go for that. They're gonna have to change that rule.
Good business.
That's not good business at all. There.
Somebody's going to have to admit it's not it's not a college program. It's a professional program.
Yeah, right.
You know.
That's exactly right. There's no more college in it at all now. It's all about money. I mean, well, look at Deion Sanders' son.
Yeah.
He was driving a convertible Rolls Royce around campus.
You know something?
Yeah. I mean, he's probably made $10 million in his 2 or 3 years of playing college ball.
Yeah. Easily.
I mean, it's unreal what's going on now, and I understand women do the same thing now. So all sports now is going to be all boosters. The boosters will control college sport until they find some kind of ruling to be able to change that.
Yeah.
And what was Trussell that got fired because Terrell Pryor got a tattoo?
Got a tattoo, right? Yeah. Remember that?
Right. Yeah.
Over a tattoo.
Can you believe that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think back on that, and I did an interview with Coach Trussell, and he just laughs when I mentioned that. I mean, he said, "Wow, can you believe that I got rid of me for that?" And now the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier about you guys were the team that beat UCLA after an 88 game winning streak.
No, it's just no. What happened was, I know everybody gets that mixed up.
Okay.
What happened is, they had won 48 straight when we beat them because they had never lost a non-conference game for 48. They won 48 straight non-conference games when we beat them.
Okay.
And then they went on an 88 game streak, and that's when Shoemate's team beat them.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So you're before Shoemate and Clay and those guys.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hey, man, I'm old.
So did you play against Lou Alcindor?
Yes, I played against Kareem. Yep, 1 year I played against Kareem.
Okay.
Yep.
The young bucks are like, who's Lou Alcindor? Right?
Oh, I know.
Right, exactly. They go, who is that?
Right.
But, speaking of Kareem, I cannot believe that a man can score 38,000 points in a professional game and nobody even attempt to shoot the ball the way he did.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hook, brother.
especially, well, you take a guy like Mobley. I mean, Mobley's starting to shoot it now.
Yeah.
And Jared always does it. But you never see anybody block that shot.
Yeah.
No, you can't. It's unblockable.
I mean, it's hard to block. And I'm like, why don't people? I mean, I know I shot it, and I love shooting it because it was the easy way. Once you put your arm into a guy's chest, you can do everything you want with that shot. So I don't understand why people, but everybody's so enamored now with the jump shot. Everybody wants to be, you know. I mean, that's amazing how a game has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that too, because you scored so many points. You didn't have a 3-point line, and also big men were big men. So when you went inside, you had something there to block a shot.
Oh.
You know, how did you handle that?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I mean, the big men back then, they didn't mind breaking your legs or your arms or whatever.
Artist Gilmore and all that crew.
I'll tell you a little story. When I was my rookie year, I was playing against Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm.
And the big fella, I went in there and I tricked him one time, and I'm coming back the other way, and I went off the other side of the board. So the next time I come down in there, he said, "Look, man," I said, "I don't care what you do as a guard out front. You come back down in here, I'm gonna hurt your little ass." And so I said, "Oh, you old so and so." So I turned down that lane and went to shoot. The next thing I know, pow, right upside my head, and I rolled over, almost out of bounds on the other side. And so the next time I came down, I pulled up and shot a jump shot. He said, "You know, rookie, you might last a little time because you learn fast."
Nice.
I mean, but see, big men were like that then.
Yeah.
The lane was their personal.
That's right.
That was a personal assault to them if you attack that lane on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And the guys don't care now because the lane is nothing to them now because they first of all, they can't camp out in there.
Correct.
And so they don't have a feeling for protecting that area.
Yeah. There's no real power forwards anymore. Everybody's a stretch now.
Yeah, that's another thing. You got to be.
They don't even need to.
Well, you know, but when you think about it, look how Mobley's game has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, because now he can hit the three. He's
Yeah.
become such a weapon now. You have to, when you come down on the break, everybody's running to the wings.
Yeah.
Nobody's running to the basket.
Yeah.
The only one runs to the basket is Allen, and that's why Allen has some of them incredible games because there's nobody around.
Yeah.
I mean, when he gets in there, he always has a little 6-foot guy that's got to try to stop him.
Yeah. Allen's a pure center. There's only a handful left in the league.
That's exactly right. And you know what? Through analytics and stuff like that, they don't want that.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, they'd rather have a guy 6'10" that can run up and down the floor and shoot threes than to have a 7'4" guy that can block shots.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we have
That's
him.
the way the game is changed.
Yeah. Hey, you mentioned Mobley. What has happened to him? Because he's not the same player he has been in previous years.
Yeah, well, he's much more aggressive now, and and really the talent was there because you could see it in practice every now and then. But he was so used to being a second and third option that he never did want to extend his game. He would always just stay right in his little shell.
Yeah.
I mean, and he would do good doing that.
Right.
That's how good he is. But then now he's much more aggressive because we've won a lot of games just because of him.
Yeah.
And what is done now is most of the guys that have to guard him don't have the foot speed to keep up with him, and especially when he's going up and down the floor.
Yeah.
And that gives us a huge advantage in the fast break situation, open court. I mean, it gives us a huge advantage. And now he's got a little dog in him now from lifting weights and stuff. You can tell. And now when he sees you down, if he sees somebody little down there, he's taking them immediately. And I love that about his game.
Now, who put that in him? Is that Atkinson? Is that the other players? Because under JB, I didn't see any of that. I'll be honest with you.
Right, well, because they didn't promote it.
Okay.
I think once the season was over, they sat down with him and started telling him. They gave him a vision of what they wanted him to be.
Okay.
And he had the talent to do it, and he's just been off the chart now. And really, the coach has done a lot. I think to me that's the biggest difference. I mean, because it's actually when you look at it, to try and get a different result out of the same people is insanity. But at the same time, the coach has changed the mentality of the team.
Yeah.
You know, he empowers guys instead of browbeating them. And what I mean by that, in other words, if we're going for, I mean, this 4-game losing streak is just the way he presents it to them, and now they're used to handling it. It's just a learning process to where we're trying to go.
Yeah.
As opposed to not doing this, you're not doing that, you shouldn't have been doing that, you got to start doing this, we got to start. It's more about learn from your mistakes because we're trying to go, there's a bigger goal we want to achieve. So we got to learn now so we'd be ready for the time. And that approach and empowering the guys to come off the bench, you know, because there's been times when I would have not left those guys in there, but he keeps them in there and he ends up the call for him.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff he's done subtly. Plus he doesn't browbeat him in front of anybody. He doesn't browbeat him at all, but he doesn't get on him a lot. And in the locker room, he can raise hell in the locker room, which I like, because you need a coach that's going to keep you on your toes, but one that's not going to try to degrade you by the way he brings it to you.
Yeah.
Hey, is there a changing of the guard in the NBA? Because it seemed like in past years, the coach was almost irrelevant, that the best player on the team ran the team.
Yeah.
And the coach just had to do what he said or he was going to be out of there. And it just doesn't seem that.
Well, now it's still a players' league, though.
Yeah.
I mean that's just the NBA. When I talk to guys in the NFL, they can't believe what goes on in the NBA. You know, because of the way it is. But it's mostly a players' league, and really now though, the coaches are starting to have more. Put it this way: after a while, you can only lay the blame on so many areas, and so after a while, it'll go. Right now, it's pointing at the management and coaches, but and the players. Sooner or later, it's going to go back around. It'll come back around to the players. I mean, but it's amazing how the teams that are having success like us, it's a different approach. It's a different. You don't feel the pressure of the coaching staff and you don't feel it as much as you do the teams that are at the bottom because those teams are constantly searching and searching and searching, and they're not having success finding anything, so they start pointing fingers at everybody. And you can see the way it is. Like now, some of the teams have checked out, and they are, some of the teams have checked out, and they're not even part of it. I mean, so of what's going on. So it's interesting to see. And when I first came to Cleveland, we used to be those checked out teams, and I hated. Boy, you're talking about coming from winning in college and then not winning at all. Oh, it was bad. And what I used to hate was how the guys that we had on the team wouldn't care about winning and losing, but everybody then was worried about it, making a living. So it was also. I mean, it's a tough situation when you're down at the bottom.
What's the ceiling for this team? What do you think? Can we win it all this year?
We have I think we have what it takes to win. I mean, the key is now. Some people may look at it different than I, but I think we got to have the home field advantage. And I would like to have it all the way through. But this little losing streak. OKC has gotten ahead of us, and OKC is not. They got their foot on the pedal, and they're not taking it off.
No, they're not letting up at all.
So we have to make sure that we get the home court advantage through the Eastern Conference so we can get to OKC, and then we just have to deal with it from there. But if we get through Boston, I don't care who we play. I don't care if we can play them on the sand lot. If we get through Boston, we'll be ready for them.
Boston scares the hell out of me. I ain't going to lie, you see. They got a stack.
Oh, yeah. Damn right. Well, they play unconventional.
Yeah.
Because everything is 3-point shots. Hell, they take 60 3-point shots. So what happens is all your big people have to get used to playing in space. And then what they like to do is play that 5-high stuff. And the 5-high stuff, all it takes is for them to beat you off the dribble one time. And now they just wait for you to make adjustments, and then they find the open man.
Yeah.
And if you get too caught in switching, then they got you. Then you got to have some good individual defenders to keep everybody in front of you, so they can't break you down.
Hey, see, how big was the Hunter trade to you, picking him up from Atlanta? So I think his link.
It was huge.
Big.
It was huge because we needed to have a wing with some length, and come to find out, he can play offense and defense.
Right.
So I mean, that was a huge play there. I mean, I really like the fact, and he went out and what's his name? We got Green. We went out and got us some. To me, those two will be very instrumental in us as we go into these playoffs.
Yeah, I thought Green would be a little more implemented into the offense by now. I should say that.
Well, they do a lot more in practice than you've seen in the game. But he definitely is part of it because that young man. I mean, he can play. He's a good player. He's been in the league a while. He knows the league. So I'm looking forward to seeing how, because now we have wings. And we have enough wings now to where if one's not playing well, sit him down. Let's put the next one in. This is not playing well. Sit him down. Put another one in. I mean, and that's what you have to have against Boston. But you got to have that against Boston, because Boston will make you get off the pot or go to the bathroom. They're not going. They ain't fooling around.
I'm not worried about anyone else in the East but Boston. And we can beat Boston, but we have to play up to our potential.
We got to play. We can't make a lot of mistakes.
No.
And we have to have the game plan down solidly against them, because see, as the champions, see, a lot of them are mental. even though we split with them this year, they really feel they can beat us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so we have to have, and it's amazing when you get in the playoffs and you get to that level and you get to that point, that little mental edge is huge, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that we just get ourselves going back in the right direction so we'll be ready and on that same mental plane that they are. Because I'm telling you, one thing about that first round, man, I don't want to see Orlando or one of them teams in that first round.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna beat you up.
That's right.
You might get
Atlanta
good,
or somebody.
yeah, right. You're right. Atlanta would be perfect. I mean, because I don't want to get in there and we get all beat up before we get to even to get to the second round. I mean, that's just going to be hard to overcome.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Hey, it is all about team, so I get that, but I did want to ask one individual question. I've never seen anybody block Kevin Durant's shot the way Mobley blocked Kevin Durant's shot recently.
Yeah.
Me either.
At the top of the key.
Phil, I had never seen that either.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And you know what? And Durant couldn't believe it either.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the ball left Durant's hand. Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it was like, wow, Durant had a look on his face like, what in the world just happened? I mean, but that tells you, I mean, there's one thing, that Mobley is a savant on the defensive end of the floor. He was just born to be a great defensive player. Yeah. And now his offensive game is coming. I mean, he's still got a lot ahead of him, but that young man, he's going to be an all NBA player in the next year or two, I think. I mean, because there's just so much he does. As long as we stay at the top as a team, that the people have to acknowledge him. And he's been probably our most consistent player all year, I think.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
So, I'm sorry, Brophy.
Last one. AC, did you ever have any inkling or any urge to coach at all?
I was thinking about it when I first retired, but I just never, because I myself as a player I always had coaches who demanded a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the way I look at the game. And I would imagine people would be, because I had I mean, my coaches didn't have any. They expected me to be perfect every time I touched the ball.
Yeah.
And defense every time. So these guys, these days are too soft, man.
Right. If you don't have the filter, right.
You can't hurt their feelings. I mean, I had my feelings hurt. Yeah. I used to get my feelings hurt maybe 8 times every game.
Right.
You just you shrug it off and keep going. But now they get you fired or they get you. So I said, nah, I better not go to coaching, because if I get in there, I know I'm not going to have a job long, because I'm going to be expected. And, don't come to me with them damn excuses. Get your ass out there and let's go. We got to play.
Hey,
but you talk like that to them now.
Jimmy Butler called for a month.
Right.
Right. But that's another thing. Can you imagine that? Well, I'm tired of this team. Trade me somewhere else. I'm like, wow, it's unbelievable. But hey, that's how the world we live in. So we just got to deal with it.
Right.
Speaking of that, I was going to ask you about your transition from playing to broadcasting. Like, you did that almost seamlessly. Like, was there any challenge for you to go from playing to color commentating? I mean, you do a great job.
Well, thank you. I had a lot of help. I mean, when I first left Dallas, that was the last team. Well, actually, I went to Washington. Well, when I retired, Dallas was still paying me. So they said, well, look, we're going to have you do something. So I started out with, I started out with a guy named Frank Gleber. He used to be CBS's number one guy. And he was the Mavericks guy. He was the Mavericks guy, and he taught me a lot about the industry, the industry then. And the one thing he used to always tell me is that, AC, be yourself on TV, because if you're not, people can tell, and it'll come through. So you got to be yourself at all times. And that's what I always try to be, even though I know sometimes it might be a little bit hard to take, or it might not be. It might be too truthful. But hey, that's what I'm seeing out there on the floor, and that's what my job is, to report to you what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got into it, and then I got lucky. I ended up doing some Big Ten games. I did. I worked with the Indiana Hoosiers for a while, and I worked with Michigan for a while. And then after that, when I came back and started working with the Cavs in the front office a little bit, I was in the public relations and community relations part of the business. And then I got lucky. I got a chance to do it, and from then on, I never stopped doing it.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Now, my last one, at least for me, is how in the hell did you become such a good left-handed golfer? I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. Tell him the story about that.
Oh, well, I tell you the story. I started golfing. I took lessons from Charlie Sifford.
I told you.
And Charlie was a great guy, a great teacher, but Charlie was an evil man. He was evil, boy. He had that sticking out his mouth. He used to say, "Damn it, AC, what's wrong with you?" I said, "Charlie, I'm trying to learn. This is your game, not my game." He said, "I got to be trying to." He said, so after about a month, he said, "Look, we're going to change you to left-handed. Maybe you can do better than that." He said, "You ain't blank this way." I said, "All right, Charlie." I said, and I'm sitting there going, "Damn, I'm paying him to be cussed out every day."
Hey, and to the
viewers, he switched me to left hand. He switched me to left hand, and my handicap went down 14 shots in a month. So I just stayed that way.
That's great.
And that's how it all happened. Yeah. But Charlie was a great teacher, though, man. He used to tell me, son, you got to swing your arms. You got to swing your arms. I said, "All right, Charlie, I can't do it all at one time."
Hey,
yeah,
just
but
for
he was a
reference
great
sake,
guy. And
just
some
for
of
reference sake, I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry. I just want to say, if you're not shooting a score that starts with a 7, you are not happy. So I just want the audience to understand what we're talking about when we're talking about.
That comes from most of that comes from Charlie too. You know, I mean, because Charlie, he says, "You should be able to break 80 every time you play if you're gonna play this damn game, AC." I said, "Damn, Charlie, you asking an awful lot." You know, but it was great. He was a great teacher, and I had a good time. Some of the stories, man, he used to tell me on the PGA was so sad. Yeah. It was so sad, man. And then I started to realize why he had the attitude he had.
Yeah.
Because he was out there by himself.
Yeah, right.
I mean, and boy, people can be cruel. Right? Some of the stories, man. You ought to read his book. His book is interesting. His book is got some of those stories in it, man. It is really. I don't know how he made it. To tell you the truth, he had to be tough skinned and had to be a tough person, which he is.
Yeah. So we had a debate last week. I'm gonna ask you this question. It's probably this is gonna get you in trouble. We had a debate about which Cavs team would win. The LeBron-led Cavs team that had LeBron, Kyrie, Love, JR, and Tristan versus this Cavs team with Garland, Mitchell, Strus, Allen, and Mobley. Now, which team would win in the 7-game series?
Boy, that's tough there.
That's gonna get you some trouble.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that. I don't know if I can answer that with it because that might incriminate me.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Because I'm gonna tell you, all those teams were awesome, man. They were tough. I don't know how because that would be real tough because all of them had strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah,
but you know, I wouldn't. The team we had, I wouldn't. We give them a run for their money, though. I mean, because but half of us would foul out though because the referees wouldn't let us play the way we played. I mean, so all our guys be on the bench, you know, because we played a whole different game than where they played now. I mean, so it would be interesting if both of those two teams played against each other, though, because one thing for sure, you're going to see some great basketball with both teams. Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool. Do you have a a dark horse in the Western Conference? Everybody's talking about OKC and maybe the Lakers. Who's a dark horse for you?
Well, it would probably be if the Lakers are healthy, because now that they got done, the rest of the team fills out now to where they got guys, and Hachimura. I mean, all those guys all fit in now that they got Doncic.
Yeah.
And now that LeBron, what I tell you, but people don't realize how a savant about the game of basketball LeBron is. I mean, LeBron did not miss a beat when Doncic came in there. All of a sudden he says, "Okay, I'll play without the ball and keep going."
Yeah.
And he's still, man, it's just amazing. But if it's a dark horse, if they're healthy, they're going to be tough out in 7 games. But OKC, I tell you, as long as Gilchrist stays healthy, they're gonna be hard to beat, because that dude is off the chart.
Very good.
He's off the chart, man. I mean, he's like LeBron when LeBron was in his heyday, man. There's nothing you can do with him. He's gonna be tough. And now they won't let you beat him up, because that's what we would do.
Right.
As much as he drives to the basket, oh man,
You got to pay.
His ribs, we'd be tearing his ribs up. Because he always wants to duck his head and drive.
Right.
Boy, the way I was taught, you duck that head, pow! I'm going straight to the rib.
Ain't enough ice baths for it.
But that yes, right. As a matter of fact, if you're not sitting in the ice bath, we didn't do our job. But that's
right.
That's a different game. But I think they will be hard to handle in a 7-game series. I don't see how anybody's going to beat them the way they've been playing, and that's kind of how it is. I mean, and hopefully in the East, because of that, we can regain our way we've been playing, and we'll be tough. But it's, to me, our whole situation is going to be that first round. Whoever we play in that first round, we got to get. Yeah. If we get through that first round, I think in 5 games, 6 games at the most, then we'll be ready to roll through the rest of it. But that first series, because those teams at the bottom are all teams that we have had to deal with in the past or recent future, and you don't want any slip-ups in there. And everybody's, regardless of how well we've played, nobody has the experience of going all the way like the Celtics have. Yeah. And they know the emotions that come up during those times. When you're down 3-2 and you're going back to play at their place, what kind of emotions you got to deal with and how you play, man. That's when you become a professional player, when you have to go through those type of situations.
Yeah.
Amen.
Nice. Yeah. Got anything, bro?
No, I'm good, man.
I got one more question.
Go ahead.
Listen, full disclosure, I did not watch the All-Star game this year, so I don't know what they did different. But I haven't watched the All-Star game in years because it's such a bad product. Any suggestions you have on what can make that what it used to be?
Good question.
Well, I don't know if they can get it put it back in the bottle now, Phil, because the money doesn't work.
No,
they know that. I mean, the style of play doesn't work. That doesn't work. I don't know. They might have created their own monster because guys don't want to get hurt, so they don't want to play or don't want to be part of anything. And the fans want to see competition. They don't want to see dribbling and passing and all. They want to see actual guys play against each other.
Yeah.
Well, they were
so I don't know. That's just the kind of dilemma that they're going to have to deal with. I thought the idea of maybe having a U.S. against international team might help a little bit because it's still competition.
Yeah.
And if you can find a way to coincide the All-Star game with their schedule in Europe to where they can have the same amount of time off, so they can have their guys play against our guys, I think that would at least save it for a little while. I mean, I don't know how long that'll last either, but, in other words, one time, because we're spoiled, and what's going to happen is, and I think about that whole idea, because what would happen is, after a while, because we'd have to play one here I don't know if they probably play them all in the United States, but after a while, somebody's going to get tired of doing that, and they're going to be complaining. And then, I mean, so I don't know what the answer is going to be, other than let's go back to the way it was and live with it. I mean, that's about it. I don't know any other way, it is. But the only problem with that way, though, is half of them would be out there and wouldn't play. Then that guy would get the ball top of the key and drive all the way to the basket. Nobody would touch him. So that's the dilemma, Phil, that I don't know. I don't want to be the commissioner having to figure that one out.
Yeah. His football lost in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
It's over.
Flag.
Oh, yeah. Right.
It's not,
Well,
I
think
know
about it.
They didn't even. They just
That's the product. That's the product of the money.
Exactly.
Because you got guys making that kind of money. So they're like, well, I can't get hurt. I don't want to get hurt, especially,
you can't have
and the owners don't want them to get hurt because they're paying them the money. So the owners might be, maybe we might not, maybe don't.
Not paying that kind of money.
If his toenails hurt, don't let him play.
That's right. That's
that
what
kind
it
of
comes
stuff. So
down
I don't know how they're going to answer that question.
to. No.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one there.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so I got one more question for you. We're gonna let you go. Do you have any good Dr. J stories? Give me one good Dr. J story.
Oh, let me see.
Don't get him in no trouble.
Wow, I can't figure. I don't have any good ones because they all. I mean, watching him play and playing against him was always good. I mean, because the guy was just phenomenal. I mean, but I guess the best thing is, watching him, the way he used the basketball. His hands were so big.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would just grab it like an orange. Yeah. And I used to wonder how he could shoot the ball.
Right.
Because he would have to. I don't know how you had to put it on your fingers. I don't know how he would do it, but he was a phenomenal talent, man, and up and down that floor, and good guy too. That's what I like about him. He was a good person, and it was great playing against him. I mean, he and I really were in the same class, and it was just good to get a chance to play against a great player like that, and watch him develop into what he became.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool. Okay, I'll take it. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you, AC.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, I can't wait to get out of the golf course.
Say again?
I can't wait to play, man. I'm having a fit over here now, waiting, but
that's what I was about to say. As much as we looking forward to the Cavs playoff, we can't wait till the season's over with, so we can get.
Yeah, I know, because I want to get out there and play, because you guys are getting ahead of me now.
That's right.
I got to get back out there.
We didn't get lessons by Charlie Sipper, so
yeah,
we need a couple rounds.
I switched from right to left, and I still suck.
But one thing I like about that game is regardless of your skill level, you can always have fun playing it. So to me, that's the good thing about it. And I love our golf club, man. This is a great club. We have a good time. Have a good time, and it's very, very competitive. I love it, man. It is fun. It's fun being out there. But looking forward to it, guys. And let's do this again some other time. Let's do this around the playoff time.
Yeah, we will. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
We're gonna hit you back up playoff time.
Sure.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care.
All right.
All right.
That's my guy, man.
What's that? I'll tell you what that was. It's time for What Grinds Your Gears. Coming up next. All right, thank you for another edition of What Grinds Your Gears. We got some phenomenal.
Fuck that. All right? Don't even think about putting that word in there.
We got some phenomenal write-ins this week. We had a conversation about phenomenal before this segment, so in case you're wondering what's going on, I had to use that word.
You got it in there.
I got it in there. You knew I was going to get that in there.
Yes, you did.
All right, we had some very good write-ins this week, so I want to read some of What Grinds Your Gears. This is a segment we really enjoy. And again, I always post our email address at this juncture. It is the 3brospod@gmail.com. Again, we always encourage you to write in, Let us know what annoys you, what bothers you, those little annoyances that you have. And we would love to read them, and we'll use your name, of course. This week, we had a pin seeker write in. Love that.
Yeah.
We call him the captain, Johnny Williams, JW.
JW.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, brother. So we're going to start off with Johnny's. He actually had two. The first one that Johnny had, let me adjust my glasses. Idiotic questions. For example, you're watching. Did I mess the mic up? I'm sorry.
Or is Tiger Woods a phenomenon? All right.
All
right, Johnny writes, one of the things that grinds his gears are idiotic questions. For example, you're watching an intense game in the fourth quarter and someone comes into the room, sees that you're watching the close game, and asks the obvious, who's playing? Has that ever happened to you guys?
Oh, shit. Too many times.
Too many times. That sound like I don't want to say, but who would walk in while you're watching a game?
I can't say it if you're going to watch the podcast, but I know of a couple people.
Who do you think Johnny's talking about?
Exactly. I ain't even going to say.
Probably Phil's friend. He always brings.
Maybe one of his buddies came in late.
I don't know.
I was thinking Sharice, quite frankly. But
I was too, but I didn't want to say because I don't want to get Johnny in trouble.
But it does. It happens constantly.
It could have been a friend that came by.
Yeah,
they could drive you nuts too, though, man. But when you're deep into a game, and I love watching the game, to watch the game, when someone comes in and asks a question during the game,
and he said fourth quarter, so this is crunch time.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
No.
No. You know, that reminds me of watching a movie with my better half, and they seem uninterested.
Yeah.
Right? And when I watch movies, man, I really dissect who did what and why and all that kind of stuff. I mean, unless it's
I put myself into it. Yeah.
Comedy, but if it's a dramatic and so they may appear uninterested for a period of time, and they'll do something else, whether it's texting or talking, and then come back and ask, what happened and how did we get to this? And they want that explanation.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy. I mean, that's not a grind your gear. That is a grind your gear, but it's
I was just going to say,
Listen,
sure is.
This is probably somebody else's grind your gear because I have the ability to see what's going to happen in damn near anything that I watch on television.
I do too.
So we talked about Paradise.
Right.
I'm thinking,
good.
Like the scene where the guy that was in the mine digging the holes and he had the black guy that was helping out.
Right.
They shared food with each other.
Right.
These two insignificant figures in this movie, they're giving all this time to, somebody's dying.
Right, they're
dying. And at least one of them's dying, if not both of them dying. Yeah. And if you haven't seen Paradise, I'm not going to give it away. But at least one of these.
Was that on Hulu? We have the Fire Stick, so I don't know.
It's on
Is
Prime.
It Al?
It's on Prime.
Well, it's a good thing I haven't watched it.
You have not watched it?
No.
Oh, I don't want to give it away.
No,
it is good. It is
I'll forget
8 episodes.
I can't remember the number.
I think it's 8 episodes.
But it's very good.
Oh my
very
goodness.
Good.
Paradise.
I'll check that out.
With
I can't remember that guy's name.
Tell me the lead actor. I love this guy.
Bridgman got it.
He played in American Fiction. He was in a series called Sterling Brown. Sterling K. Brown. He's outstanding. Paradise, if you haven't seen it. So, anyway, thank you, Johnny, for that. Also, we have another one from Johnny. So let me read that as well. The second one, the driver on the highway who goes the exact speed limit in the left passing lane and refuses to move over in the middle, despite efforts to get him. Now, I think we've always had that.
Well, yeah.
We've all experienced that.
But Johnny's saying is despite efforts, he means the horn up his ass, the light flashing on him and stuff, and that person refused to get over.
I'm thinking these are probably people that are in cruise control, right?
Yeah.
They get in the left lane, which is considered the passing lane.
That's right.
And they set their thing to cruise, and they just.
I'm with you on that, though, Johnny. I can't stand it.
And Johnny, I am not with you on that one. First of all, so I've driven with you before. I know how you drive, and what you were just describing was tailgating, which is extremely dangerous. All right, And so I'm just not with you on
So
that.
Phil, you're telling me Johnny's not a good driver when it comes to that.
Well,
Johnny just gets where he got to go.
Okay. Well, I'm
He
kind of
gets
like
there
that,
as
Johnny,
fast
but
as he
all right.
can.
I'm still with it, Johnny. But now I hear that you're tailgating and all, but I don't blame you. Shit, I'm with you.
Johnny, don't let them discourage you. If you come on right in,
tell the people to get the hell over.
here.
I'm with you, Johnny.
all right, I'm done.
Okay.
Okay.
Done. Thank you, Captain. We appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we have some grind your gears of our own, right?
Yes, sir.
Want to get to? So let's do that. Who wants to start off? Who has a grind your gear?
I'm in because
Let's go, bro.
It's speaking of, I'm kind of hungry right now, but what kills me is when your family or whoever you're with asks you what you want to eat.
I already know where you're going.
And I'm going, well, I eat anything, man.
Right.
So what do you guys think? What do you? Because you're picky.
Right.
I eat anything. Oh no, I don't know. And I go, all right. Well, how about pizza? I have pizza. We had pizza the other day. All right. Well, how about Chinese or whatever? I don't know. I'm not really feeling Chinese or whatever. How about steak or something?
Right.
Ooh, I don't eat steak that much. Well, chicken. I'm not really feeling chicken. Well, what the hell are you feeling?
want you to-
Goddamn, I'll eat anything.
Right,
I'm
right.
already hungry because I just mentioned 4 foods I eat.
Right.
But you will not say it.
It won't
And
make it
then I say, okay, I make it up my mind. We're having bratwurst tonight or whatever. Ugh, I hate that. Well, just leave me the hell out. I'll DoorDash. I'll go walk. Just get
Been
whatever.
there, been
I can't
there, bro.
stand that, man. When it happens, and I love my family, and saying that, but damn, I can't take that. Make up your mind.
Yeah.
Like you're talking to a guy to eat anything.
That's when you
I'll
just
find
gotta-
something on the menu.
That's when you got to make it. First of all, you can't turn it over to the family when there's multiple people involved because
Big one.
everybody has different tastes and they're all going to pick something different. You just have to say, we're ordering from XYZ. Who's hungry?
Okay.
You understand what
I'm
I'm
gonna
saying?
try that. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, man.
Because man, I'm telling you,
And the ones that don't want to eat from that place and eat that particular food,
They
they
ain't eating.
typically will make a decision on where they want to, but it'll be settled. I don't open it up like that when the kids are home. It's just too much.
All right. Well, I
Make a
think
call.
that helped me. Hopefully.
Yeah. What you got, Phil? I know you got one.
I thought about it, and then I was listening to Brophy. I don't know if I changed it a little bit, but my original thought were people that were fake ass Christians, and I don't mean that by people that go to church and ain't wonderful 24/7, all that stuff. But I do mean that it's people that are in love with Donald Trump that refuse to look at what he is in comparison to what it is that they say they are.
So these are Christians who profess to be
So my question,
or
and
people
I've
that
asked-
profess to be Christians.
Right.
And I've asked this a number of times to people that come up and talk about their love of Trump. Basically, I've said, what if he raped your mother? Nobody that I've asked that question to has been able to answer that question. They won't even answer it. They won't even address it.
Exactly right.
And so they're in denial about everything that this dude does. His fraud, his felonies, his pathological lying, his sexual assault, his coup on the United States government. They cannot address, honesty would be, I know he did it. I know it's bad. I still want him to be my president. That's honesty.
Yep.
They cannot say that. They cannot admit this man is who he is.
Well, wouldn't the follow-up be why would you want him to represent the country you live in?
Yeah.
Having done XYZ.
Absolutely.
But that's where they're fake though, because they won't admit to anything he had done. Where
And
if you're a real Christian, you're gonna say, "Listen,
Oh, yeah.
I forgive him. God forgive him, or
I
whatever."
thought you were going
But this is what I went
to
for.
my guy that said close the door. What's his name?
Reverend Sapp.
Marvin Sapp.
Yeah.
You went a total different
Well,
way.
you know
But
what?
that
That's a
makes
great
sense.
example.
Yeah.
Exactly. Close the door. That.
Till we raised 40 grand.
So we raised 40 grand.
Yeah. So same deal. But that's the issue that I have with people that claim to be God-fearing people, but don't have the ability intellectually to address why they would be in support of somebody that has broken virtually every commandment, and he lives that every day. It's not like he sinned once and he's not doing it again.
Right. No,
this man's sins are who he is.
Yeah.
And so anybody that supports this motherfucker, and I got to say it that way, and you think you're a Christian, I'm sorry, you're a fake-ass motherfucking Christian. Ball game.
Hey,
Wow.
you got to own up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm with you. That was harsh, but I love it, man.
Well, I do too, but it.
Well, again, my thing is that's I guess my question to everybody is though, you know, we're supposed to live in a democracy. We're supposed to have our all of our rights, our Constitution, everything. Everything gets violated, and it's like it's okay because he's making us better. How in the hell does tearing down our democracy, our Constitution, and having a crazy billionaire running around with a saw,
Right.
how does that make any sense?
Well, I think what Phil's saying
we're
is
doing?
silence is complicity. That's
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You're complicit by being silent.
Yes.
That woman that got picked up off the street that they had video of
Yeah.
just recently in the last couple of days. And now I don't know where she is. I don't know if anybody knows where she is. But she's not in the country. You know, I just picked her up off the corner, and then she's
You're
just
not gonna
gone.
know.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
You're not gonna know.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna know.
Yeah, it's just not America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. I should have went first, I guess. My grinds my gears is a prolonged winter. Like I'm mad because we can't play golf every week. So
Well, you can have extremes.
yeah.
Hey, listen.
was in the
It's
middle.
it's part of living in Northeastern Ohio, and I got to tell you, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I know you guys were in Maryland for 35 years, and you guys seem to be 6 to 8 degrees warmer than we.
Yeah, but golf costs twice as much.
Exactly,
Yeah. So,
exactly. And I know the times that where you were home around the holidays and you tee golf for $35. You like, you got to be
Absolutely.
kidding me. We played golf in Maryland. I think it was like $85
Yep.
tee times
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
it's ridiculous.
You get a cart and a hot dog. I mean,
It's
$100,
ridiculous.
right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But the winters here, in fact, the weather collectively is not extreme.
Right.
We don't have the floods and the tornadoes.
Right.
And
No, that's a
those
good
type
point.
of things.
Yeah.
The only thing that we have, our winters seem to linger.
Yeah.
So as we roll into spring, it still resembles winter.
The sun disappears in October and doesn't reappear on a regular basis until April.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about it too is we don't get the big snowstorms like we used to.
Right, we don't.
But we get the kind of the shitty weather.
Yeah.
The cold, wet, rainy, icy snow, 2
Yeah.
inches.
Yeah.
Then it's back. Then it's sunny out. It's 50.
Yeah.
And it's just going back and forth.
Yeah.
Does get bothersome.
It does.
Kind of wears
Listen,
on you. So
Let me tell you, if you got a dog that wants to go out at 7 o'clock in the morning, and if you got a dog that wants to go out at midnight,
yeah.
man,
Nico, he's talking about you.
Yeah.
the weather.
Hey, he's
What a
talking about
what a
you.
difference, huh?
Yeah.
He's talking
Yeah.
about you.
The weather
He's looking.
matters. It
Yeah.
matters, man, and it's just. I know you guys have said Ohio. This is an aberration that the winters
really
have been
is.
better. Man.
Oh,
this-
the year you come back,
I hope.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope you didn't bring that with you.
I hope.
we
future
got
winters
10
are
months
better.
of golf in religiously
Yeah.
and was mad about only being 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were months or years where we played here and there in each month of the year, of the calendar year.
Yeah.
It wasn't consistent, but to have, I'm sorry, I know I called you pumpkin, to have these consecutive weeks where we're not playing golf in minus the sun and in the,
Yeah, you know what? And another point to that too, though.
it's a little depressing.
Well, yeah, but our summers and the springs are pretty nice weather.
Yeah.
Tell you what, you go down to Florida, and you guys been down there
Yeah,
playing golf.
true.
Man, you burn up on the courses, man. There's no shade.
yep.
There's every alligator, snake, bug in the world around you.
Yep.
And it's hot.
Yep.
It's oppressively hot. And it's just, to me, I'm going, unless I'm on the beach,
Yeah.
I'd rather,
Yeah.
put up with this kind of spring.
Florida,
summer stuff.
out west in Arizona. I've been both of those places in the summertime.
Arizona in the summer?
There is nobody that's on the golf course in the afternoon.
Yeah,
in those
exactly right.
locations.
Yeah.
It's just too hot to be outside.
Right.
you
I mean,
know?
that's the equivalent of 2 degrees in the winter, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Unthinkable. So
Yeah.
we're fortunate. So cool. Well, those were good. So thank you, Captain Williams, JW,
Yeah.
for sending in your What Grinds Your Gears. We appreciate that. Again, we encourage folks to write in and participate.
You can have just normal ones, extreme ones.
Extreme ones, it doesn't matter.
In between. Don't worry about it all.
That is going to conclude this segment of What Grinds Your Gears. Now, coming up next, Phil's back with 5 Minutes with Phil. And
I can
again,
imagine.
this is one you're not going to want to miss. So
You heard a little bit about it already. Yeah.
I didn't want to give it away. But stay with us. 5 Minute with Phil coming up.
Peace. Okay, welcome to another edition of 5 Minutes with Phil. I'm Phil Manley. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to talk to you today about, believe it or not, the presidential election of 2028. And get this, the impact that Stephen A. Smith may have on this election. And I know you're saying that this is out of left field. I think so too, or I thought so too, but I'm not quite so sure these days. First of all, I don't even believe there's going to be an election in 2028. So I'm on record for saying that well before Trump won this election. Like Bill Maher, I had said from the middle of Trump's term, if he gets reelected, he is never willingly leaving office again. And so that's where I stand on that, and I stand with that. We've seen elections around the world, or we've seen, dictators around the world, I guess, with Putin or Xi in China, Kim Jong-un in North Korea. These guys, if they had elections, the vote was near unanimous for the individual in charge. Kim Jong-un, he or his father or his grandfather have ruled North Korea since the end of World War II. That's not changing anytime soon. So, assuming Trump survives this presidency, and there is an election in 2028, I want to talk a little bit about what impact Stephen A. Smith might have on that election. So Stephen A. Smith's been in the news a lot recently. Obviously, he signed this $100 million contract, which was the richest contract in history. He still gets to do he still will do First Take, but he will also be freed from his lesser obligations to pursue other areas of interest. And he has a strong interest to enter the political arena. The same day that Stephen A. announced that $100 million contract, that evening he had the to do with LeBron at the I think it was at a Knicks game. And so if you remember, it started all the beginning when Stephen A. just begged LeBron as a father, stop this, which really pissed LeBron off clearly. So LeBron confronted him during the game, dressed him down very publicly. Then he went on another show. I think it was, I'm not sure who it was, but one of the sports talk shows. Dissed Stephen A. again. Then he went on Pat McAfee. Thank you, Al. So he did it on McAfee. Then he saw Richard Jefferson on at another game, and on sideline had a conversation with him that was recorded. Stephen A. heard that and finally responded, calling LeBron weak, and said that literally if LeBron wanted to throw down, he was ready to raise hands with him. Okay, fine. Nick Wright then went on the air and told Stephen A. to stop talking like he's in the bathroom, reciting what he should have said when he was in front of LeBron, which I thought was very funny. Then LeBron hugged Nick Wright, and then LeBron showed that video of Stephen A. Training with his boxing coach, which was just hilarious. And so it's just been, put down after put down after put down. So you got that going on. And beyond that, Stephen A. has a new TV show coming out called Three Americans. He's going to be on that with Bill O'Reilly, Chris Cuomo, and himself. And so O'Reilly is clearly the right-leaning guy, Cuomo, the left-leaning guy. And Stephen A. is exactly where he's been up to this point in his life. He's right in the middle. He hugs Hannity. I feel at times they should get a room when they're on TV together. The love fest is so strong. He's very, very critical of the Democratic Party, very outspoken about them. And he just rides, you know, he claims to be a Democrat, but he rides this fence, you know, trying to be favored by both sides of the aisle. And I'm not sure how sincerely it is, but that's where he stands. And so it's troubling because he has influence, and if he decides to use that influence the wrong way, it could mean another 4 years of Trump or whomever, or Don Jr., who the hell knows. So, a little background on Stephen A., it just, at least from my perspective. He is the guy that made it popular. He's the first guy to make it popular to be a clown as a sportscaster. And when I say clown, I don't mean to insult. I just mean to describe what I see when I see him go on his rants. It's clownish to me. So that's how I feel about it. I'm not mad at him. He's getting $100 million. If I could get $100 million acting like a lack of a better term, fool or clown, I'd probably do it. In addition to his clowning, he is a very good broadcaster. He's very insightful. He has exceptional communication skills. He can tell a story, or he can make a point telling a story that is very clear so that his audience understands where he's coming from step by step. And he just has an outstanding way of communicating that few people have, quite frankly. So he's very good at what he does, even without that clowniness. But just like Trump being sort of a clown, if you will, and that's what attracts his MAGA folks, Stephen A. has people that are followers of him because he does that same routine. It's not what I would call good journalism. Good journalism to me is sports journalism, is Robin Roberts. Maybe many of you don't remember, but Robin Roberts was on ESPN before she, moved to daytime, and she was outstanding as a ESPN sportscaster, simply outstanding. You guys, I'm sure most of you remember Stuart Scott, who was just incredible at what he did. Loved by everybody, just as good as it could possibly be. And then back a little further, there was a show called Sports Reporters. It only came on Sundays. This is before we had 24-hour TV and sports, 24/7. And it was hosted by Dick Schaap, who is my personal GOAT in terms of sports broadcasters, just because of how professional he was, how humble he was, how happy he was to do his job. He enjoyed it, and the questions that he had were questions that had depth to them, and he probed without having to be insulting to the people that he was talking to. And John Saunders, who followed Dick Schaap after he died well before his time, unfortunately, John Saunders was great also. And so these guys were professionals. They didn't diss people. Nobody dreaded coming on TV with them. They didn't humiliate people. The things that Stephen A's done with Kyrie or Kwame Brown or Kevin Durant, it's just, from my perspective, just one man's opinion, is just unprofessional. So I see Stephen A. like I see Arnold on Different Strokes. And we all know what his catchphrase was, what you're talking about, Willis. Or JJ on Good Times with Dynamite. Or Steve Urkel on Family Matters. Did I do that? I see that level of clown in Stephen A. Again, no criticism, but that's just how I view it. The difference is these guys were actors. They were playing a character. And when the camera was off, then they came back to who they were. Stephen A., if this is who he is, then it's who he is. If it's not who he is, then he's in character, it seems, most of his life. Because I've never, again, seen him, say, off camera, not doing Sports Center, having a conversation, doing anything that was any different than the way that he presents himself when he's doing Sports Center, or when he's doing First Take. So it's unfortunate. Well, at least from my perspective, it's unfortunate, but that's the way that it is. Now, Stephen A's opportunity with this new show, is to enter the political realm and be a, political pundit. We all know Charles Barkley tried that with Gayle King in the show that was called King Charles. I think it lasted about 2 months at best. It wasn't great. Barkley wasn't good at it, and I don't mean that as a diss. He just wasn't good at it, and he is remarkable at what he does do when he covers basketball. He's incredibly insightful, and he has equal communication skills. And to what I see of Stephen A. when Stephen A. is at his best, he has a very good way of seeing things that others don't see and delving really deep into what's going on within the basketball community. So can Stephen A. be a broadcaster? Yeah, possibly. But he is being touted as a presidential candidate. Polls are showing him getting anywhere from 2 to 7% of the Democratic vote right now. And so he's, while he's saying that that's something that's not interested, or he's not interested in, he's not really saying, no, it's never going to happen. And I guarantee you, he is going to tease this for as long as he can possibly tease that. And I'll give you the reason why in a little bit. But in many ways, and this is why I don't see Stephen A. as a viable candidate, is that he is the Black Trump, that he cares more about perception than he does about reality. That's why he came back at LeBron as hard as he did, even when he decided to air all of LeBron's dirty laundry, saying, in a way that says he didn't air all LeBron's dirty laundry. It's unprofessional. So he's petty, he's unprofessional, and that's just not going to work for a Black Democrat or a Black independent for that matter. And quite frankly, he would never be successful as a Black Republican. So that's how it is. But if you remember Trump's interview with Bob Woodward during COVID, Trump actually admitted on camera that he minimized the danger of COVID to the American people because he was aware, he was concerned about his approval ratings. And, that's incredible. People died because they did not give the proper respect to the tenacity that disease had. And a lot of people lost their lives because they didn't think it was as serious as it actually was. That's your president, MAGA. So Stephen A., again, he's always in character. He's a man in his eyes, so he has to always strike back at LeBron. But to get back to what I was teasing just a second ago, Stephen A.'s real value in politics is as a kingmaker. Trump has his MAGA base, however many millions of followers he has, and he's right. He could commit murder, and these people are going to follow him. It does not matter what he does. He's going to have his base following him no matter what. Stephen A. also has a following, though it's not that crazy. But there are 3 to 5% of the electorate, or at least there will be come the 2028 time frame, that would vote Stephen A. for president if Stephen A. had his hat in that ring. And so given that, and given the knowledge that he can never actually be president, that 3 to 5% may be the swing that either candidate needs in order to capture the election. And the fact that he could be this kingmaker, he's going to fall in love with that role, and he's going to hold on to it for as long as possible, teasing the left, teasing the right, until, he has to finally make a decision. And by that time, when he makes that decision, it will be so milquetoast. He will have been so much of a waffler between one candidate and the other that it won't have the effect that people think it does. So it'll be, 3.5% for one candidate, 1.5% for the other, or 3 and 2, or something like that. So it won't. There was. Oh, actually, I'll say this, and I'll follow up. To quote Terrell Owens, Stephen A. loves him some Stephen A. Or I guess to paraphrase Terrell Owens. Like Trump, Stephen A. loves praise. Hannity knows how Stephen A. is. When I watch them on TV, and they're on TV together virtually every month, I feel like close to that they should get a room. That's how intimate these guys are with each other. That's how much in love they are with each other. But my take is that Hannity doesn't love Stephen A. Hannity's just using Stephen A. for what he can use him for. And that is to, get an audience and to possibly get influence for his buddy Trump that Trump wouldn't necessarily have. So it's just valuable from that standpoint to have one more popular black man talking about the value that the Republican Party brings to America. And listen, I'm not saying they bring no value. MAGA brings no value. But clearly there are good ideas that come from any political party in America. It's just that this one happens to be so extreme. The good, in my opinion, is not worth the bad. It's not worth it at all. Okay. There was a quote that T.S. Eliot gave, I don't know what year, unfortunately, but when I first read it, I was amazed that this man had never met Donald Trump because it described him to a T. And it's half of the harm that is done in this world is due to people who want to feel important. They don't mean to do harm, but the harm doesn't interest them. And that's how I see Trump for sure, but it's also how I see Stephen A. That he has a chip, and he can use that chip any way that he wants. And it's very valuable, and however he decides to use it, potentially, is going to mean a significant amount to a significant number of people in America. That doesn't interest him. What interests him is that he has that influence, that he has that power, that people are noticing him and recognizing him and courting him so that they can have what he has. And he's going to milk that to the end. So that, I guess, is pretty much what I wanted to say. Stephen A. will do that tease, and he will walk that fence because, to paraphrase Michael Jordan, and this will benefit him on his show as well, as long as he's doing this, as long as he's in, a guest on all these shows because of, how much people want his vote or his support, it only grows his audience. And like Michael Jordan, I'll paraphrase again, the Republicans watch First Take too. And Mike, you know exactly what I mean when I'm saying that. And so it's unfortunate. The way I come down on him is that he is somebody that is powerful, potentially dangerous. He's talented for sure. But how he's going to use his influence is a question that we should look forward to going forward. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Okay, so that concludes our fourth segment of Three Brothers Podcast. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. A special thanks to Austin Carr, man. What an interview. Man, Austin Carr, AC brought it, baby. Yeah. Appreciate you so much.
Yeah, can't wait to hear you again.
Yeah. Can't wait to golf season. Can't wait to have you back when the playoffs start. Yeah. And it was just great. We appreciate the time you gave us today. Also, for those who wrote in for What Grinds Your Gears.
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny Williams, among others, we appreciate that. Keep those coming. Once again, our email address is the3brospod@gmail.com, so we always appreciate those write-ins. 5 minutes for Phil, bro. Nice to have you back today.
Yeah. Missed you.
Man, we missed you.
Yeah.
So those of you that wrote in asking where was 5 minutes for Phil, well, as you can see, he's back, so we appreciate that as well. So got a lot of stuff coming up again for next week, so we look forward to that. Stay with us. And to Big George Foreman, again, rest in peace, Big George.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Yeah, I've been there, I run that, and you ain't from there, so you can't come back. I've been there, I run that, and you ain't from there.